This week's episode of the Co-Optional Podcast is proudly sponsored by Squarespace. Get 10% off your first order at squarespace.com/cooptional. Create your own professional-looking website with no prior knowledge required at squarespace.com/cooptional. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. It is the 2nd of February 2016. I'm about to sail away, but unfortunately I'm stuck with these idiots before that happens. Now's the time when you fill in, Jesse, you asshole.
Nope,
Now's the time for your witty rebuttal.
I know witty
I was
rebuttal.
following the lead.
If anything else, you'd be like, TB sailing away. Yeah, I would have done that, but instead I decided to sit there and make you wait.
Yeah,
it
nice.
made me giggle.
I mean,
that's
that's good.
matters.
That's simulation for the cruise on Thursday, where we will have to wait outside for the boat, and then we will get on the boat. I can't wait. It's going to be 4 days of being unplugged from the internet. I'm so happy. It's going to be great.
I feel for you. I really feel for you. Man. Away from the internet, how will you live, TB? Like a human being?
Like a
you're
human
supposed to
being.
live?
Exactly. Finally freed from the chains. Yeah, JP, you are now very quiet.
Really?
Yeah, after screwing with your sound for 10 minutes in the pre-show sound checks, you managed to mute yourself.
Is that better?
Professional Twitch broadcaster, JP McDaniels.
I mean, it works when it works on my end.
All right, it works when it works. Yeah, that's a great excuse. Awesome,
It works when it works.
Love it. Let me introduce our guest, who is significantly more professional than you are. He
True.
is the man, the myth, the legend behind Accursed Farms. He is the creator of Freeman's Mind. He is one of the original machinimators with civil protection, and he is also the now purveyor and owner of Ross's Game Dungeon. His name is Ross Scott. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. You are one of the only men that I know who does not have a Twitter account, from what I can tell.
I saw that, yeah. Is there a reason behind that?
He's a sane man.
Because
He's
I get emails
man.
and comments and everything. I mean, it's just be more that I can't keep track of it as it is. So why add to that, I guess?
Absolutely. If I could go back in time 6 years, I would tell myself, don't create a Twitter account. I really would. And I'd be so happy.
So I'm the alternate reality of, like, if that timeline had split.
Yeah,
then.
like, you have hair, I don't anymore, so that's why, I lost all my hair thanks to social media. Yeah, you have talent. I do this stupid podcast every week for money and shill squarespace.com/cooptional. That's what happened to me. That is what happened to me.
It's like Superman and Bizarro. It's exactly what it is.
Exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yep.
What else could it be? No doubt.
Yep.
Welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games. Dodger is lazy and couldn't be asked to be here because she hates all of you. So we replaced her with JP, who didn't even make an effort, really, when it came to the whole hair thing. When
It looks good like this.
there we go. We had Dodger.
Look, I was telling Jesse I brought a sandwich. Thanks to the sponsor, Subway.
No, we're not sponsored by
this.
Subway at all.
I'm not actually sponsored by Subway, but I'll eat eventually during the podcast. If TV doesn't
good.
pick
Yeah,
me
glad
off.
to hear that. Yeah, that's nice. Yep.
Yeah.
It's nothing better than being unprofessional.
Subway time.
Yeah.
It's not. Subway is bad for you.
That's
Don't
what
eat it.
It's Subway time, and then I'll just start eating.
Yeah, they use that, like, ammonium chemical thing to make the bread or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they do.
They don't do. I swear to God, I saw the best Subway commercial the other day. It was like, now with all natural chicken. I was like, what was the chicken before?
Yeah.
What was the chicken before? No, don't tell me that. I'd rather it still be made with chemicals and you lied to me. Rather than be like, now it's chicken.
Yeah, I think it's like the same process to make foam rubber as they used to make the bread or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's bread and there's lead, and have you noticed the lack of difference between those two words? I'm just saying.
Well, it's also Subway bread has like a unique texture. I mean, you go to a bakery, you're not going to have bread with that texture.
No.
I mean, that's a great selling point right there, Ross.
It's a unique texture.
It's a unique texture.
It's something positive, sure.
Subway will never be our sponsor. Well, fuck. They probably could have paid us quite well.
Yeah,
Never
I mean, they need a new one. After,
Yeah.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah,
like, if you want to get into controversy, then we can go on the Fine Brothers if you like. This is going to come up at some point during the show. Should we just lead with it? Like,
Probably.
Should we just go in right now?
Yeah, I think that's what everyone wants to hear us talk about.
I mean, we do only occasionally talk about video games on this show, and the Fine Brothers have very little to do with video games outside of blatantly nicking people's video game videos in order to have children or elders or whatever react to them. But oh my god, I have never seen such a PR disaster on YouTube. That is a new high or a new low, whichever way you want to look at it.
Are they still losing subs?
They are still bleeding subs. There's a live stream right now that shows real-time bleeding of subs. I have never seen a pair of people that clearly do not look like from this earth. Like, the guy on the left looks like the bug guy from Men in Black. Like, he is insects in a human shell. Like, you can see his eyes just bulging out. They had to make several... They had to make several cuts during it because he was asking for sugar water the entire time.
Yep.
And
Will Smith was trying to kill them the entire time they were filming.
He was trying to get in there. He's trying to get in, community.
They're down to 60s.
Fantastic movie, though, by the way.
And the other guy looks like he's a robot. Like, he doesn't have any real emotions. They programmed them into him at the last possible moment, just before they made that take. And it just, oh my god, I was baffled because, I read their stuff and then I compared it to the video. I'm like, you people are insane. Like, you have an incredible idea that has no originality whatsoever to it, and you decided change the world through reacting to other people's videos. Yeah, that not only is that not original, but it requires no creative talent of any description whatsoever. I mean, reaction videos are basically the lowest tier. I mean, they're on the tier with unboxing, but unboxing requires some physical effort, so I put them slightly above that. They are talentless hacks. They really are.
Well,
and if people are mad that I'm being mean to them, you have to understand that these are the people that literally tried and would have probably succeeded had they not been noticed in trademarking the word react.
Right.
In relation to YouTube
think
videos.
They might have got away with it if they just never made the videos.
Mm-hmm. You know what? If it weren't for those damn kids. If it weren't for those damn kids, they might have got away with it.
This
Scooby Gang save the day.
It's beautiful to have Scooby-Doo justice doled out,
right? Well, here's the thing: is these guys are part of that wave of creators who found a shtick and lucked out heavily on that. Like,
absolutely,
like me.
They found something that worked really, really well, and they milked the shit out of it, and they made a ton of money. And then they saw, oh wait, other people are now doing what we did, and some of it's kind of better than what we did. Let's clamp down on that quick. And that's what they tried to do, and you can't do that. You can't do that. Imagine if PewDiePie was like, I'm going to trademark screaming into a camera. Like, you can't do that. That would have killed a million people's careers. So it's like this, it's so crazy. It's one of those things where I think I tweeted this, it's like that new media attitude, that old media attitude and style of doing things forced on new media, and the new media audience will not stand for that shit. Like, people who run to YouTube away from TV and other things are on YouTube and Twitch because of the bullshit that TV brings. So,
it's the hypocrisy that really gets me. It's the absolute hypocrisy of the whole thing. It's like, they're going on and on and on about how the old Hollywood do things. They're like, we never lost the spirit, which is why we're announcing this international brand licensing deal, and we're trademarking all of these common generic terms. Yeah, you're nothing like Hollywood companies. I could clearly see the differentiation there. And some people are mad. It's like, oh, you're mocking their appearance. Oh, no, I mocked their appearance. Oh, God. Well, how terrible. Let me mock their credibility and their hypocrisy. That should sting a lot fucking deeper, because that's true. These are the kind of things that make us all look bad. Not to mention that they have a serious, and I do mean serious potential to damage people on YouTube. These are the guys that make copyright claims on a daily basis and then flat out lie about it. You know, the Seniors React channel no longer exists because of them, because they for some reason believe that they own this insane generic concept that was invented, frankly, by Bill Cosby at least 20 years ago. Way before them. And not to mention just the sheer arrogance of the video. It's like, well, if you don't want to make videos like us, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is wrong with me? I wanted to maintain some sort of creative integrity and actually, you know, work on my videos, as opposed to getting a bunch of children into a room and create creatively bankrupt content for people that have, frankly, no time whatsoever to watch anything of substance and just want a nice little quick hit of, oh, he's saying silly things! You know, Jesus, it's... You know, I don't care that that's popular. That's cool. Like, a lot of stupid shit is popular. And I'm not gonna lie, some of that stuff is funny. But it's not funny because of them, it's funny because of the people that they got in to record it.
Right.
Well, I would like to imagine that someone in their corporation, because that's what they definitely are.
Well, yeah, they're a 40-person corporation. But we're not Hollywood, guys. We're not Hollywood, totally. Like, we've never lost that spirit of having 40 people in our company to make reaction videos that could literally be made by one person.
But this definitely seems like one of those moves where they hired people, and the people they hired fed into the bullshit machine and told them two things. One, how amazing and awesome they were and how life-changing this shit was. Because there's no way you go into a video saying, 100 years from now,
the world together.
When people look back at our generation, they're going to see these videos.
It's really important that in 100 years from now, we know how teenagers reacted to Nyan Cat. It's
because
really
there are no
important,
other videos like this either.
Right.
You know?
No.
There'll
be no evidence.
No one's going to look back at that shit, ever. And if they do, it's going to be VH1 doing, like, remember this weird shit back in the...
Remember this dumb shit that we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, God, entertainment was so crappy back then. Holy... You know, that's what it will be. You know, it's like excavating a Victorian toilet.
Of pushing buttons to upset people with some... Because it's not just the hypocrisy, it's like the mean-spiritedness, again, of shutting down channels and kind of
going after
ruining anyone
DeGeneres
else in the vicinity. If it was just hypocrisy, you could just sort of make fun of them, but it's a lot more than that.
No, it's a lot more than that. You know, they went after Jimmy Kimmel, they went after fucking Ellen DeGeneres, one of the nicest people on television. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? For doing a format which is not even close to theirs, really. You know, if you want to be very, very reductive about it, if you want to boil it down, which they absolutely did, then yeah, the formats are similar, like any other human ever reacting to anything is. You know, that... Oh,
I like how their update video didn't help.
No,
like,
it was.
They were so passive aggressive in that video. It was
the eye rolling.
You don't understand.
The insincerity in the eyes.
They were like getting upset as they were reading a fucking teleprompter of lines in front of them. Yeah,
when I talk,
it was insane.
So.
That
you don't understand that we're just trying to
patch
make
the
money.
emotion machine. It's not working correctly.
Yeah, it was insane. That was what pissed me off more than them actually doing what they did. It was like watching the videos. It was so canned. Everything in there was. It just felt like they were literally Hollywood, and then saying we don't want to be Hollywood.
Like, make no mistake, the Fine Brothers make millions of dollars a year. You know, let me make that absolutely fucking clear. They are probably making, without sponsorship, a minimum of $6,000 to $7,000 a day. A day. They are full fucking Hollywood. There is no doubt about it. And they acted exactly like it. Because here's the thing about trademarks, right? And I do know a little bit about this because I have a fucking law degree. So for once, I can actually speak on something with some authority. Although I have to say that my knowledge of US trademark law is a bit shaky. I know more about...
No one understands it anyway.
I know, yeah, exactly. I can make up any old bullshit and you'll believe me anyway. So it's all good. You know, I know a lot about UK trademark law because I spent a year studying it. But whatever the case... Here's the thing about trademarks, especially in the US. The problem with the trademark is you have to aggressively defend it or you will lose it. So when anybody says, after trademarking a generic term, that we have no intention of going after people that use it, they are lying through their teeth. Either they are ignorant and their lawyer didn't fully explain how it works, or they are lying to you. Because you have to aggressively defend your trademark, otherwise you will lose it and it will become generic. Yeah? So they knew exactly what was going to happen when they trademarked React, you know? And honestly, I have to say that they almost got away with it. And that really scares me. Like, that really fucking scares me.
It's definitely one of those situations, and it's very, very obvious that the people they surrounded themselves with, just like many of the other corporations on YouTube, are like old school Hollywood people who definitely sent them down this path and made this happen. And you can tell that especially because their reaction to it was a textbook Holly reaction, which was never admit you're wrong, and more importantly, make sure that everyone else knows that they're the problem, not you, and you're trying to help them.
It's like, I mean, we're just building a community, guys, by taking 40% of your ad revenue. We're building a community here.
Yeah, it was so funny because it felt exactly like it was their first time talking to a lawyer like 2 days prior, and the lawyer's just like, "You got to lock everything up. Like, this shit's fucked. You got to get everything."
Which is hilarious because I've spoken to a trademark lawyer, because I've looked into trademarking a couple of things, because I'm looking to trademark TotalBiscuit, obviously, because it's my brand.
I've got trademarks as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we all actually have trademarks because you don't actually have to register a trademark in order to own it, right? But registering it makes it a hell of a lot easier. The problem is when you register it, you have to aggressively defend it. So I was looking at WTF is, and when I was speaking to my my trademark lawyer, they were telling me, right, okay, the most ethical way to do this, and I'm like, yes, this is what I want, is to very narrowly define it. Because WTF is sounds like a kind of generic term, but when you apply it to something very, very specific, it's not. So if you apply it to my particular format of video game critique on YouTube, and you specifically say, WTF is trademarked in this specific circumstance, then that means that people can't make a video that is exactly the same as mine in my particular field, but they can use that anywhere else. Yeah? So they don't need to worry about, someone says, WTF is
tacos.
Justin Bieber or tacos, then there's no problem. Like, no problem at all. But when you do it how they did it, they made it as broad as possible to affect as many people as possible.
And then said, oh, yeah, we'll license it out. That's how it works everywhere else, guys.
No, it doesn't. That's
like, what are you talking about?
Did you not just notice the way that Sony tried to trademark Let's Play, and they threw that the hell out immediately? Because they realized it's a generic term,
No, actually, I think it got thrown out because it had similarity to, like, Let's Plays with a Z and some other related company.
So there was actually
we only got lucky that it got thrown out.
We did, there was an update on it. Well, thankfully we noticed that because the first time it got rejected, it's had a second rejection now on the basis of it being generic. So it's fine now. I know a lot of people, especially like video game news websites, as they tend to, misreported it on the first instance. But now it has actually been rejected on that basis. So it's just weird that we can have two crazy trademark ideas appear within in such a short time. I mean, it's very similar to King.
Difference between the two.
It's very similar to King Claiming Saga. It's very similar, although King Claiming Saga wasn't even as bad as what the Fine Brothers were trying to do, and that was bad enough.
It would have affected so many people if they had actually been able to muscle it.
They pulled it off,
I still find it amazing that the scummy thing of trying to trademark this stuff, that's scummy. But the way they tried to sell it is like the scummiest of, like, it's like Burger King where you're opening a franchise. Like, no, that's not what it's like at all. This is the internet. This is YouTube. We're not opening a Have It Your Way flame broiled Whopper stand, guys.
You're 100%
it's totally
right.
different.
And it also, like, it sounded like a late night infomercial. It's like, you too can react with
all
our
the cheesy
videos. Graphics
and everything.
Although even almost kind of cultish when they're talking about their ambitions, like with changing the world 100 years from now.
It's like, wow, you are drinking the Kool-Aid, yeah.
And
how could you actually say we're going to change the world?
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on this and say that they probably didn't believe that at first, and some people sold them this bill of goods like this is good for the company. I know there's investors and people in that company who are just like,
well, of course,
we got to make this money. People are stealing your ideas. There's all these people reacting
because those ideas were not original to begin with.
But I guarantee the more you see like people reacting to movie trailers and reacting to, like, I guarantee there's some dude in that company who's just like, we want all our money down the tube, and we could have done that. And so they had to do something crazy like this. Yeah. But really, they didn't have to.
They could have because they were making more than enough money in and of itself.
That is corporate greed at its finest.
I mean, it's just like people asking in chat, well, why would they even do this? Wouldn't this be a PR disaster? Yes, it would.
It turned out to be. Yes.
They didn't realize it. They thought they could get away with it. They drank enough of their own Kool-Aid to believe.
I also think there might be some tension already from multi-channel networks and their treatment of people.
Yeah.
And this is like such an easy target to hit when they come out with it. Again, it's just amazing.
Yeah, speaking of multi-channel networks, some people are asking, what's the difference between like a program like React World and Polaris? Well, for one thing, Polaris doesn't take anywhere near as much revenue as React World wanted to do. Polaris is basically a management firm at this point. Like, Polaris's job is to legally protect us from bullshit, which they do. In my case, they've done a pretty good job of. I'll give them credit for that. They're also supposed to be getting us advertising and brand deals and things like that. So they act as an agent, basically, and they're actually taking the same fee as an agent would in Hollywood, which, as many people are probably aware, is 10%. So they take 10% in return for managing and protecting my channel and getting me brand deals and helping me out with technical issues. Basically, when I call them, they fix my shit. I know, unfortunately, that is not true for everybody, Jesse, but they've been good to me for the past 4 years. MCNs used to be, we have one of the guys who just loves MCNs here on the show. He's a big fan of Machinima in particular. Ross knows exactly how bad MCNs can get when they get super shitty, because MCNs used to be required to put video game footage on YouTube.
Yeah, like when I was releasing videos, it was especially video games, because the copyright area was so great. You had no protection at all back then the way you do now. Like, it was practically mandatory.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and Machinima used to take upwards of 50%. I remember one of the old contracts, they took 50%. They only paid you ad revenue generated in America, and any premium ads that they sold, they took all of that money. So they had this crappy set CPM.
I didn't know it was that bad.
It was really bad. They had contracts in perpetuity, which is actually illegal in most states and countries. Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally could not leave.
Yeah,
you were contracted for life.
This. I think you might have mentioned this before, and look, I want to make this super clear to everyone, because I've always heard so many times, you should have read the contract. You should have read the contract. I had protections written into my contract when I signed it. Like, I even asked them to add it. I read over it. They refused to honor it when I wanted to leave. Like, I had to get legal assistance to just get them to honor what had been written. So I did read it. It didn't matter. It was just, I feel like their legal department's the whole job was really shut me down.
And it seems like, Full Screen is involved in some way with this Fine Brothers thing. That's the network that the Fine Brothers are part of, because almost all of the copyright strikes on these other channels are from Full Screen. They're not actually from Fine Brothers themselves. So it's like they're using their network as a club to beat people with,
This is something that's
crazy.
Like, it's one of the reasons why YouTube proper is like, we're not huge fans of MCNs. It's because MCNs operate in like that weird, they operate in that weird, like, pseudo Wild West status of everyone for themselves, and we are a company trying to make money, and I know you're trying to make money, but we're trying to make more money kind of deal. And so, they're protecting you and they're doing all that stuff for you, but at the same time, they're a business. And so, I know TB will back me up on this. Years ago, when we first started, compared to now, like, back then, we thought we had some really great deals. Compared to now,
60-40?
we were getting...
You're loving 60-40. Man, that was amazing. No one else was getting 60-40. That was incredible.
That's the best
60-40 in our favor? You only take 40% of our revenue? That's amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
At that time, that was the best deal on the market. At that time, in 2010.
And you notice now, like, TV's like, it's 10%. That's an industry standard. That's because, spoiler, every creator fought for that. Like, fought for it and to make it happen. And eventually they just went along and did it. And that's one of the things that I think is really powerful about new media, Twitch and YouTube and all the online media, is that it's the creators who are fighting for the change to keep it like on kind of the up and up compared to what it is in old media, which is like the money people control everything. And here it's like, we're the voice. We have some say, because without us, you got nothing, dude. And at least sometimes they admit that that's true. At least sometimes they give it.
It's still kind of scary having it all under one house, though, more or less, like Twitch for streaming and YouTube for videos. Because you can't exactly just take your business elsewhere realistically.
No, you can't.
I can't.
So...
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking into options for, basically, paying for my own bandwidth and using Amazon Cloud. The thing is, I run really long videos. Like, YouTube, for me, is almost required. The amount of bandwidth that I would eat up hosting my videos.
It's a de facto monopoly. I mean, as far as video hosting, so...
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Twitch, I think I can get... Twitch is less bad because, I mean, obviously you have YouTube streaming, which is kind of like, back into the frying pan, I suppose, out of the fire. But... you still have Hitbox, you still have Azubu, you still have MLG TV, who I've worked with MLG TV, and they were pretty good, that you don't get anywhere near as much money. Well, you don't get as many viewers. The problem with the cool thing about Twitch and YouTube is that people go to Twitch and YouTube not knowing what they want to watch.
Exactly.
So they actually turn it on and go and find something. It's that discoverability. But nowhere else really has that because they don't have the inherent audience. So with MLG, I had to drive traffic specifically to my MLG stream, and people would never find it on their own. So that was a weakness of that platform. And Twitch and YouTube thankfully don't have those. But you are right. Even with this current setup, we're still in a position where YouTube could go tits up tomorrow. Like, they could announce that video game videos are no longer allowed on the site, and a lot of us would be super fucked,
Yeah, tons of people would be out of a job, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing they could do about it.
There'd be a massive...
there'd be a huge lawsuit.
Twitch real quick.
Yeah,
You'd be like, hello, Twitch!
Please, Twitch, save us!
I think for, people like me and Ross, who mostly do, critique, we could probably go to court and we could probably try and force it. But ultimately, it's a private service. They could do exactly what Vimeo did, which one day Vimeo...
I wouldn't have money to go to court.
No, exactly.
I got free legal help when I...
Don't worry. I'll bring you along. It's okay. Don't worry. You can join my legal bandwagon. I actually have a lawyer. We're good. But... I'll use all my money and burn it on YouTube, but never mind. It's like, I'm going to fight YouTube for about 3 days until I run out of money. Fuck. All right. I guess I'm selling my Pacific Rim
Google
figurines.
Won't be able to hold up against you.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm fucked. This isn't a tiny indie company from Slovenia anymore. Shit. They have real lawyers, not made-up ones. But, Vimeo is a prime example of one that overnight decided to do that. They just said, no more video game videos. Out of nowhere. They literally just said, we will delete all of them.
So is it like art movie bullshit? What is allowed then?
Basically original filmmaking and things like that. I used to host some of my really old Let's Play stuff, like my Shining Force stuff, and a lot of some of the Lawful guys used to host their old Let's Plays on Vimeo because it had good video quality, compared to YouTube at the time.
What was that group that Maker ended up buying the video hosting?
They bought
Twitch. Because there were a bunch of people from the Guy with the Glasses network that were on there. Then they bought it up. That thing started going to hell. Then it's all gone. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, people are in chat, right? I can sell my Warframe account. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. My Warframe account gets at least one more day of lawyer fees. Absolutely. It's got a lot of platinum on that thing. A lot of rares. We'll be good. You can join my ship. It's full of little figurines. But
by the way, just so we're aware, when we started talking about the Fine Brothers thing, the rate per minute of subscribers lost jumped from 50 up to 130.
Yeah.
Currently at 93. They've lost
2,000.
They've lost 2,000
They
since
lie.
we started.
They're bad people.
The thing is, though, is their
really
viewer
are.
count is actually still steady, even though they've lost all of
that's
these subs.
okay.
The
People
viewer
are
count's
checking
still
the hate comments. That's
Well,
these
are-
that's expected.
Well, no, that's
These
still
are
like
also probably
$6,000
people
a day,
who,
but-
in most cases with YouTube, subscribed 5 years ago and haven't watched one of their videos
They
since.
have been around for a while. You've got to bear that in mind. So, a lot of those subs are dead subs, no doubt. But, it's... the Fine Brothers are, through their actions, I think safe to say, pretty horrible people. They have been abusing the copyright system for years to squash their competition. They finally did something that got them truly noticed by the internet, and now they're paying for it. And they have backed off, and I'm happy that they've backed off, but that doesn't mean you should forget what they did up to this point.
Because they've shown their colors.
They have. They've shown their true
100%.
colors. They have aggressively gone after their competition for years. They sent a hate bandwagon over to Ellen DeGeneres. They literally, on social media, told people to go and attack Ellen DeGeneres, one of the nicest people on fucking TV.
Yep.
They did it. They threatened Jimmy Kimmel with lawyers, and Jimmy Kimmel probably fucking laughed at them. They have been doing this shit for years. And if you want to make creatively bankrupt content and you're happy with that, cool. I wouldn't be happy with it. That's why I don't make that shit. But regardless, it's not like that content is invalid. People obviously want to watch it. I'm not going to sit on my fucking ivory tower or my high horse and say that I somehow am changing the world more than they are. No, I make shitty videos about video games on the internet. I'm basically making giant, long, 55-minute reaction videos to video games.
Absolutely true.
It's without a doubt. We're all shit, except for Ross. Ross makes real shit. Everyone else is shit.
I'm half.
Yeah, his
half
shit's
of
real.
that.
His shit's real, though.
He has real shit.
He makes real shit.
Yeah, he is down with the kids and such. Not in that way, in a real way. But
it's kind of funny, too, because to the best of my knowledge, I was the first person to do, the sort of voice with Freeman's Mind, the first person to do voiceover stuff for video games. There could have been one before me. It never even came into my mind to like copyright this format or something. In fact, I was expecting someone to come along and do it better than me. Like I might have been first on the scene with the idea, but then somebody
Never
sees that and like, oh, I
people's
can do better than
laziness.
this.
Never.
And you know, and it just never even occurred to me. It'd be like if I tried to copyright or trademark Mind and go after every person making that
Yeah.
Even though my stuff is highly derivative of things like Mystery Science Theater 3000, you know,
Sure,
which
yeah.
was before, you know, which was after stuff like What's Up Tiger Lily. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, you know what even bothered me is that like they're talking about they were lying basically about protecting their format. It's like, what is your format exactly? Like, you have a guy sit in front of a computer screen, the video's in the top right corner, and then they say things, and then you edit it. That's your format? That's not a format. That's basic editing technique. That's what everybody does. It's bonkers. You know, it's like me trying to protect the format of WTF is. WTF is a generic format. Anybody can use it. They can't use the name because
like the graphic, you know. That's...
Yeah, I mean, they can't just steal my branding completely, like steal all my graphics. I don't even have any graphics. What are they going to steal?
You know those eyes.
Yeah,
those eyes.
Yeah, those eyes. Which I'm pretty sure that even those are unoriginal. But it's like, look, you can make a video that it uses my exact same format because my format is generic. It wasn't original. I lifted it from Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb probably lifted it from somewhere else. It's the same as this podcast. I stole it from JP. This 4-panel podcast is literally stolen from JP's State of the Game show years ago.
Suck it, JP.
No, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, we have. Like
the funny thing is, TB just says that. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
I don't know.
Did
you actually invent the 4-panel web show? Like, you are definitely one of the first to do it. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
But see, even then, Brady Bunch had that thing where everybody's looking around. You know?
Yeah, you could argue
right.
that it came from there. Yeah,
I could argue that. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, the 4-panel web show is arguably a format that could technically be protected as intellectual property, but we would be we'd be fucktards to do that. That's
the other
point.
thing too is that YouTube and Twitch, kind of to what you're saying, TB, how like this is state of the game, and there's a billion other React videos. Like, if people weren't able to do that, YouTube and Twitch would have never succeeded because there would only be one person doing. Hey guys, I'm going to look at XCOM 2 today. I'm the only person in the world that can make this type of video.
Yeah.
It would be stupid. It wouldn't work. The medium would not work.
No.
You wouldn't have game genres. Like,
no,
okay, I'm going to make a real-time strategy game that's different from this other real-time strategy game. Like, of course everybody wants that because it's something new. Not even if it does copy the style.
The only
format.
FPS would be Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. You know that.
Yeah,
would be,
that's not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah, they are pretty good, but oh god, imagine. Actually, that's a terrible world to imagine. We would have never got so many good games if that had happened. But React is a genre, not a format. You know, and even the act of reacting is a totally human thing to do. I mean, we've just spent the last 40 minutes reacting to reactions. It happens. Like, how else do you discuss things exactly?
No, I definitely think that someone in every company, they need to have one person who's like hey, remember 5 years ago guy? So they can sit down and have like, remember 5 years ago we did this shit for funsies and there was no talk of money, and I get the world's changed now, but like 5 years ago, TB and I made videos in order to get some dude's attention on MMO Champion. That was it. That was literally like, hey, post our shit because we want viewers for no reason.
Yeah.
Just cause.
Trying to get that Baba Boo we love.
Right?
The evil guy of a company. His job is to just remind them.
It used to be me and Jesse competing for that, literally.
Yeah,
like we were competing for BB's attention. Like, Senpai, please notice us. Please post our latest video about World of Warcraft, which is entirely
this weird,
derivative.
like, I flew over a zone. Oh,
I flew over a zone you couldn't get into.
Right?
Where we're both trying to work out how to get into the zones that were locked down. Those were the times, man. Those were the times.
Yeah, that's where it was like. It was a fun.
Imagine if I tried to trademark that and tried to sue you because you were my competition insteed of inviting you on my show and creating a successful format with it. Oh,
that might take some of the lightheartedness out of the movie.
Right?
Just a little bit, yeah.
But it's that idea I feel like every company needs to have that one guy who's in every meeting. It's like, guys, remember not to be assholes today. How about we do that? How about
you don't be dicks to each other?
Yeah, I think those people get fired like years prior to this stuff even happening.
So, no, those guys are always the ones who get immediately fired. they're immediately taken out of the company. So only the
even
assholes
before
and
the
yes
big
men
changes,
remain.
well in advance.
Yeah. Which is the problem. Which is the big problem. I'm willing to do that for every company. Invite me to every board meeting. I'll show up and be like, "Oh no, you guys are fucking dicks." Like, see you next week. Like, I'll do that for you, internet. I'll be that guy.
The fact of the matter is the Fine Brothers delved too greedily and too deeply. It's like, it is pure greed as to why they did what they did. They were making money hand over fist already, and the fact of the matter is that their format is infinitely replicatable because they skirt fair use to basically lift somebody's video and then make a bunch of money off the back of it, but just by having people say dumb shit to it. That's it.
For the community.
For the community. To change the world, yeah.
God damn it.
Well, the world was changed, just not in the way that you wanted.
I wonder
it
if
to
those were the lines they added at the very end. Be like, guys, this is actually like a really evil, fuck you, like satanic move. Do we need to add some like nice thing? Yeah, go ahead and put those lines in there.
Mention the
Let's
community.
just change the world. That
Together
sounds
in their
good.
head. Like, there's just like, okay, this is just like any other sort of internet skit, and just and it didn't like sink in until later.
I mean, if you don't want to be for the community, what the hell is wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Bugman?
I have a question.
Sugar water.
The release of the video to when they actually registered the trademark stuff, was there a time period in there where someone found something out and started to like spread shit, or did they actively create this video to like preempt the fact that they knew that what they were doing was wrong?
I mean, there's always been rumblings. The thing is, they're very, very good at suppressing that information because a lot of their fans are teenagers and don't give a fuck about this stuff. And they also heavily, heavily censor their comments on their social media. So whenever people pointed this stuff out, they just basically buried it. And nobody really wanted to take them on because they were known for being litigious. So people were like, oh, I could make a video calling them out, but I'm actually going to risk like serious harm to my channel if I do that. So they tripped up on their own arrogance. They fell on their own sword at that point, and that's kind of glorious and really satisfying, actually.
They are dwarfs. They're dwarfs. You're absolutely right. This is perfect.
Yeah.
It is nice though at the end of the day, to see that for whatever reason, evil can still not triumph that easily in our industry.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Other days it's like, well, fuck evil one today. This time, evil didn't win.
And hey, I believe in forgiveness. I'm not going to hold them to fucking account for this forever. But the thing is that they have shown their true colors, and just because they backed off, you've got to bear in mind they backed off only because they had to, not because they wanted to. This is not an act of good faith from them. This is an act of, we are going to get nuked in court if we try this. And we are bleeding subs hand over fist. And more accurately, our sponsors are really nervous.
There were so many lawyers that were just teeing off on them.
I mean, a video game lawyer, in particular, who he got quoted on BBC News and things like that. That guy was like, I'm going to fight this pro bono because the point of this is that this is actually a bad thing for everybody in new media. If this actually went through, this is a bad
for anyone
thing.
who in the minority who wants to defend them. He made a Reddit post. I think the video game lore. It's the best explanation I've seen of everything that's happening. And it shows exactly how bad it is. So if you think we're all misinformed, read that.
We've read up on this shit. There's a reason why we waited about a week to talk about this. We know what we're talking
precedent.
about here.
Like the minute if that were to go through, it's precedent for everyone else to be like,
season for people.
Well,
to
if they
that.
could do it, so can we. And then we're all screwed. Like it had to stop there. Like if you remember all of you viewers, if you remember 2 years ago, a year ago, whenever it was when you had like Congress trying to pass crazy internet laws. Yeah,
they keep trying.
Went crazy.
And they keep trying. Yeah, which is annoying. I mean, I had to make a video about that. That's actually my most watched video I think ever was my SOPA video saying, this is why SOPA is really fucking bad, guys. Please, can we put a stop to this?
Yeah, it's CISPA, SOPA, the TPP. I mean, it's almost like a cycle now.
It is. They keep renaming it.
Like Dracula. You have
the
Belmonts need to keep going up there and putting Dracula down. It's about on that level.
A different Belmont, a different Dracula.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure CISA or CISPA did pass. It didn't have... it didn't have all of the stuff.
Of it.
Yeah, it's not all of SOPA, but unfortunately that shit did pass. And that's the problem, because they snuck it through while people weren't paying attention.
Yeah, well, they snuck it through. They tried to like 10 times, and then finally people are like, well, I guess we missed it this time, guys. It didn't
finally got it
Reddit.
through. Yeah, they boondoggled it on top of NASA's budget or something, which was like, fuck,
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you do have to stand up to this stuff when you do see it. Like, this is not us as less popular YouTubers bashing on more popular YouTubers. This is us saying this is legitimately harmful to our industry and our ecosystem, and we don't want it to happen.
Yeah, there would be no popular YouTubers had stuff like this gone through.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been done. The thing would be done.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is, all these formats are generic, and the people who are successful are hopefully the ones that do it the best. And if you're getting beaten in your own format, that means you need to step up your own fucking game. You know, it's a similar reason why I would not go after people that use my format. Not, because it would make me an idiot. Plus, if they're beating my ass, I need to critique better. Like, I'm supposed to be good at this shit. Why are they beating me, you know? To me, that's like... That fucking puts a fire in my belly. That inspires me to be better.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You know?
It's inspirational.
I don't want to
someone
squash my
does it better.
competition. I want to excel. You know? I want to be known as the best person in my particular field. And if I'm not that, I need to be better.
And even if you can't be better, well, then you at least have respect for them. You know, it's like,
Right.
oh man, they did it so much better than I can.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's also
kudos for that.
You hope for the trickle down effect, right? You hope that if they're at the top, that means they're going to get more people, and if they're larger than you, that means more people are in that industry.
It's the
watching
idea
what
of
you're doing.
genre success. It's why it would have been a terrible idea for id Software to turn around and say, "Oh, everything's a Doom clone. You're not allowed to make it." Because the fact of the matter is that that they made a genre that they were then successful within, and they obviously put a lot into that genre, but so did other companies too. You know, and what they did with that genre evolved FPS to what it is today, and that's exactly the same with this. You know. It's the same principle. You don't squash your competition like that. You know, you don't stifle a potential genre. You don't try and own a genre. You try and be the best in that genre. That's how you compete.
Yep. I think that's a good book note.
I think so, yeah. I don't think we've got anything else to say on the Fine Brothers. We don't like them, and we don't like what they did. Simple as that. And I think we're very justified in that. So, let's talk about some video games, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. We can I begin? Can I?
Yeah,
Can I XCOM 2. I can finally talk about it.
Is it finally like out of embargo?
Yes. 72 hours later, after beating the campaign fully, I can finally talk about it.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Well, not the last 2 levels though, right?
Wait,
I can actually talk about those. I believe my embargo. There's a very very limited embargo restriction on a couple of things. But I'm not going to talk about the last 2 levels in terms of plot, but I might talk about them in terms of difficulty.
For us?
No,
Here's what the ending is.
No, I'm not going to spoil the game.
Let's jump straight to that.
That would be awful.
kick things off.
That would be the worst. I would never do that because I'm not an idiot. But anyway, so this game is my favorite game of the year so far by a country mile, and that's saying a lot because Darkest Dungeon came out this year. And
Even better
game
than
is amazing.
Overwatch?
Even better than Overwatch, yeah. And Overwatch, hey, you can't count Overwatch this year because Overwatch hasn't been playable this year. Screw that.
I know. I'm being a dick. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so XCOM 2 is, in my opinion, like, it's XCOM turned up to 12. Like, they took the format, and bear in mind, I'm a fan of the original XCOM games, right back in the day, and they made some big changes to that when they remade it. And I didn't like some of those changes. I'll happily admit that. And perhaps Ross has also played some of the old XCOM games, because I know you are big into those older titles. Did you get a chance to?
Okay, I'm in a weird spot where I'm a big PC gamer, but I honestly kind of hate turn-based combat.
Fair enough.
Every screenshot I've seen of XCOM 2 makes me think, man, I wish I liked turn-based combat because it just looks gorgeous and interesting. It sounds cool. So XCOM is a game I want to like, but I know I can't. So that's how there's a few games everybody has like that.
Yeah, I'm like that with like Europa Universalis and Hearts of Iron and
or EVE Online is another one like that. Like, this is so amazing, but man, it's not.
Yeah, I want to love this, but So XCOM 2, like, what I really love about the game is that it took everything from the remake and just made it better and put a unique spin on it. They made it super thematic to what the game is based on, the fact that you are a resistance movement and you are acting like guerrillas, and everything really in that game is based purely around that idea. And they took these mechanics from the previous title and they just made them better. Like, the idea of stealth, for instance. Like, they didn't change the way that enemies spawn, because in XCOM, enemies spawn in what are called pods. And when you come across them, you trigger the pod, and then they go into cover, and then you start to fight them. Now, this time around, they said, well, we're going to do the same thing, but here's the thing. You're a part of a resistance movement. You should be able to sneak up on them, right? So you start off concealed. And that means that you can move quickly across the map without having to worry about triggering these pods, and you can set up the perfect ambush. And then you can just gun them down with great vengeance and furious anger.
How do you trigger that? Is it line of sight based, or
it's line of sight based? So when you're in concealment, as you'll see on the screen right now,
I've only played like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so
there are these red squares. If you move into the red squares, you are spotted. If you fire on anybody, you are revealed. Yeah, so you can set up the perfect first ambush if you avoid these red squares. And bear in mind, these pods will patrol as well, so they will move around, and that will move their line of sight. So you try and avoid that happening, and you set up this perfect ambush, and you get the drop on them. And not only does that feel really satisfying, but it speeds the whole experience up. Because in XCOM 1, you had, if you were playing especially on harder difficulty, you had to really slowly creep forward from the very start. Because if you triggered multiple pods simultaneously, that could be a party wipe. It's just like an MMO. Like, you pull multiple parties in WoW, same deal. You've got too many dudes to deal with. You're going to die. So you had to be really slow. And it was frustrating. You know, it took too much time. But this time around, they fixed that. But they did it in a really fun and cool and unique and satisfying way. And I've got a lot of respect for them for that. You know, they stuck to their guns. They said, you know what, we think we did it right. But we think we can do it so much better with this theme. And look at this cool spin we can put on it. So I love that. And I love the spins they put on the enemies. Like, they've made the old enemies much more powerful. The sectoid is a way more powerful enemy.
Hear.
Oh, it's great to hear.
I don't want to hear that.
Oh, it's awesome. Like, the
what
sectoids have, like...
were you playing on?
Yeah, XCOM isn't known for being difficult. Come on.
Yeah.
Play it harder.
difficult?
So I beat the campaign on Veteran, which is normal difficulty. I kind of wish that I played on... I've gone back to start a new campaign on Classic, which is Commander. That's clearly the way to go. Because, like...
That's what I started last night. So.
Yeah, because balancing-wise, like, the first couple of enemies you encounter have 3 HP. And that means they're in range of just being killed by a grenade, which is a guaranteed hit.
Right.
However, on Classic, they have 4 HP, so you can't grenade them to death immediately. That immediately changes the entire dynamic of the game. Because you don't have those easy kills early on. They are a lot smarter, they hit harder, they have higher accuracy. And, I mean, in this video, I fight a Sectopod that has, like, 30 HP and 5 armor. And armor in this game reduces damage incoming. So every hit is minus 5 damage because of its armor.
So you don't break through armor. It just factors in.
You can break it with explosives and what's called shredding. So you shred the armor plates off the enemy, and then they stop getting that extra damage resistance. But it's oh my god, it's got so much depth. There's so much cool customization, and I want to tell you a war story, because I think the coolest thing about XCOM is war stories that people come up with.
100%.
Yeah, so let me tell you my war story. This is not in the video. This is something that happened, and you're going to love it. So, obviously, I named all of my troops after people that I know. So, a bunch of YouTubers. Jesse Cox. You got captured by the aliens and probed, by the way. I'm sorry. We had to leave you behind on one of the missions. We couldn't evacuate you in time, so you got captured. But we rescued you. We had the opportunity to rescue you later on. You look different. I mean, you've been quiet since then, but you came back to us, Jesse. But we had everybody.
I'm a sleeper. Watch out. Watch out.
That would have been so awesome if you were actually an infiltrator. That would have been
folks.
Amazing. That would have been... I wonder if that's even a possibility. If
that'd be really cool.
That'd be so cool. Because there are infiltrators in this game, which are really cool. Anyway, so I had everyone named. And Dodger was like my best ranger. She's like a sword-wielding badass in the best armor I can come up with. And Strippin was the sniper. So she was like... They were like the yin and yang. And, like, in my canon, they had their guns named after each other, kind of. It was almost like, I imagine them as the 2 Russian Jaeger pilots from Pacific Rim. Yeah? Cherno Alpha.
Even their characters are
Rest
unbearable.
in peace. Yep. Rest in peace, Cherno Alpha, who saved us all. They saved us all. Lights are on.
They did nothing. They saved no one.
They saved us all.
They saved
all bow your heads in prayer.
They
Cherno
were
Alpha.
Useless.
Rescuing the Miracle Mile. I imagine them as the Russian couple from Cherno Alpha, and they kind of complemented each other. They had complementary play styles, and they always saved each other. Like, you know, when an enemy came up on the sniper point, like Dodger would run back and kill it with the sword, and the sniper would cover her in Overwatch, and it was just this weird kind of in-game relationship. Then in the final mission, they survived to the final mission, and were like they were wearing the best gear, they had the best upgraded weapons, they were maximum rank. They were absolute badasses with like 60, 70 kills to their name
Everything's
each.
in past tense, and I'm getting really scared now, TB.
Yeah, because in the last mission, bravely attempting to save the world, Dodger was melted in a pit of acid.
Yeah! Woo!
But wait, it gets worse.
Yes.
So she was melted in a pit of acid right in front of Strippin.
Jesus.
And then...
Did he panic?
He panicked, and then... she was reanimated as a psychic zombie, and Strippin had to shoot her in the head.
Oh my God.
And then Strippin was eaten by a chrysalid. That was the end of Strippin and Dodger in my
Holy
campaign.
Shit.
Now,
That's amazing.
were you upset at that point in time, or were you just like, I don't
This is
care, that
movie
was
material.
awesome?
It was just like, it was the coda to the whole thing. Like, it really made it made the game for me, because actually naming your dudes and giving them a personality and designing them to look like your friends and then having them fucking die, especially if they're in
why I
a
love
real-life
XCOM.
relationship with each other, having to have the fiancé kill his girlfriend.
It could be the last act to a movie. I mean,
Yeah, man, it was so dark.
I'm excited I just got probed. Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, you got
You lived. I think you actually
just
did
got
more ways
live.
than one.
Yeah. I mean, by the end of the mission,
I'm
there was-
almost imagining his character had like zero reaction to any of this since he's come back from the like just not.
Just randomly scratch my ass as I walk by.
Yeah,
the
no
dead bodies.
panic at all.
Yeah.
Just
That looks awful.
It was like a Greek tragedy. It was, and that's the cool thing about XCOM, is that you get those stories. You know, after you name your characters, you have those war stories. You give your characters a real personality. In XCOM 2, you can customize them and you can export them as well, which is awesome. So I can actually export a character pack of
What is that?
co-optional people.
Oh, so you can like build them and then other people can download them? Or
Yeah,
how's
so
that?
they can download their exact appearance and
shit.
their bio and everything. So you can export
Is there that
them.
much variance to be able to do that? Like,
There's enough, and they're adding more in some DLC. And obviously, the game is fully moddable from day one.
Right,
So
I saw
there's
that.
already going to be mods on day one for the game. I think this game has got a huge amount of shelf life, and I've got to give Firaxis props for actually opening it up and saying, you know what, we're going to make some money off DLC, but we're going to let you mod everything. We're going to be totally open with this. We're not afraid of modding. We believe that PC games have a long tail. We believe in the idea that 5 years down the line, you could still be playing our game, that it's not being fucking taken offline and made unplayable. Fucking bastard EA, you know?
well, it's not like that. The original XCOM didn't last.
Exactly.
It
People are still
didn't
playing
have
that.
a long shelf life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's... XCOM 2 is a sublimely great game. The only problem I have with it is that it's buggy. Like, it has a bunch of bugs in terms of animations and the way that characters interact with the environment. Nothing that really affects the gameplay, and the performance does not run that... It doesn't run that well.
It looked
Yeah.
gorgeous too, from what I saw.
It looks a lot better. Like, they've put a lot of detail into it. There's some really cool... I love the effects on the magnetic weapons in particular. They just they distort the air as they fly through. The animation's quality is a lot better. The camera angles are a lot better.
Are they going to have a day one patch or anything like that? Do you
I
know?
hope so. Yeah. The
I
thing is,
haven't
like,
heard.
Firaxis games always they don't prioritize performance because they make
They don't,
turn-based
yeah.
games, you know, and they still should. They need to fix it, but it's not gonna hold you back from enjoying the game.
I'm sure there's going to be a NVIDIA patch as well, or driver.
Yeah, they'll hopefully be game ready. Because I
there
actually
has
found
to
that
be,
SLI
yeah.
made the game worse, not better.
Yeah, that's what we were talking
which
about
is
last
not
night,
supposed to happen. But, like, I mean, if you didn't like the XCOM remake, then go play Xenonauts, because Xenonauts is a remake of the old XCOM, old school. But if you think that maybe these changes would make you enjoy it, or if honestly you just enjoyed the original remake, this game is excellent. Like, it's an improvement in every way, in my eyes. It's so good, and I'm so happy to have played it, and I'm going to play it again. And it's going to be awesome. We're going to bring them back. Everyone's coming back from the dead. You're going to have new classes. You're going to have
I'm
new
excited.
guns, new armor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting my playthrough tonight on stream. So, and I played XCOM. I beat it when it first came out, but I played it again like 2 weeks ago, and I lasted 2 hours. Then the salt came through, and I alt F4, and I said, you know what?
Oh man,
Let's just
that
save it
game
for
is
XCOM 2.
that game is rough, man. If you get
It's
bad dice
real
rolls,
fucking rough.
yeah. But there's so
Really
much you can
rough.
do to mitigate that RNG. You know,
There is,
XCOM's a game about not being put in a position where it's down to a dice roll as to whether or not you win. You know, because the decisions you made up to that point put you in that situation.
Yeah.
It's-
You made bad decisions, dummy, is what he's
Yeah,
saying.
if you made bad decisions and whether or not you survive comes down to a 50-50, that's because you made bad decisions to get there, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's what you really want in a hard game is to feel like you have a chance, you can do this. Like,
Yeah.
like when you
can
when
always
you mess
win.
up, you really feel like, oh no, I can figure this out better, you know.
Yeah, as someone pointed out in chat, there are two things they didn't really improve, which is base building. They actually kind of stripped that down a bit, and research is pretty much the same. But outside of that, like they put some really cool stuff in it. I love XCOM to death. XCOM 2 is an awesome release, and I'd strongly encourage people to support it.
Are there
Yeah.
new resources or anything like that in the game that you have to learn about and figure out how that works?
Yeah, so basically there's what's called intel now, because you're part of a resistance network that needs to contact the other resistance cells on the planet, and intel is used to investigate them and also to unlock different missions. And you could set up radio towers to communicate with the resistance, and intel can also be used to buy things from the black market, so you can like halve your research time for something, or you can buy a specific weapon mod, for instance. So yeah, they've changed things around, and like getting rare drops like Illyrium cores lets you build special one-off weapons like experimental power weapons and experimental grenades. Which
So there's
like
a whole loot system now.
yeah, there's a
too,
loot
right?
system in the game. Yeah.
How does that work? Like, do the mobs just drop an item?
Sometimes
like
the mobs
Diablo?
drop an item. You remember how meld works, where you had to get there in a certain amount of time? It's kind of like that. So you get 3 turns after killing an enemy to loot that enemy, assuming they drop loot before it explodes. And that means you get the items. And it's like things like stocks and advanced clips. And I had my sniper with an advanced magazine that basically doubled its capacity. So, a shotgunner who had what's called a superior repeater, 15% chance to outright kill an enemy on hit. Doesn't matter how much damage, outright kill.
What?
Yeah.
That's OP as fuck.
Yeah, everything's OP. Everything's turned up to 12. But they because they dialed the enemies up to be OP as fuck as well, everything feels too powerful. And that's an awesome feeling.
What's like, and maybe you can't say this because all the embargoes, but like, what's the big bad?
Okay.
Like, who's the guy that you see and you're just like, well, fuck this.
All right,
mission.
I'll tell you the big bad that isn't like the final spoiler boss. I'll tell you the biggest bad in this game, in my opinion, is the Andromedan. So the Andromedan is basically a big daddy, a space big daddy from BioShock. So he's a toxic suit. He has like, on classic mode, I think he has 5 armor and at least 20 HP.
Fuck.
So he not only has a really powerful plasma shotgun that can one-shot somebody if they're out of cover, but he also can fire an acid bomb, which is what melted Dodger in the final mission, by the way, which does huge damage and inflicts an acid burn. But wait, there's more. You
Okay, Ron Popeil, yes.
You think when you kill an enemy, they go down?
Is he just res?
He gets right the fuck back up again.
With the same HP?
You smash his helmet, you kill the dude inside, and the suit takes over and gains a new set of attacks, and it's right back up again. And you're like, what the shit? They are...
Fuck that mob. Fuck you, Firaxis. What the fuck?
Andromedans are evil.
That sounds terrible.
Fucking evil in this
Do they
game.
come in multiples, or is it only...
Oh, yeah. I mean, usually you get like 1, but I had 3 spawn on the final mission at once.
Holy shit,
fuck.
dude.
It's horrifying. Like, even when you kill them, when they get back up again, they trail acid everywhere because of their leaking suit. So you can't even walk near them because you'll melt. It's ridiculous. And the sector pod, which you see in my video, is insane. Like, it's this giant robot that can literally walk through buildings and destroy them simply by making contact with them.
It's like the mech-looking thing, right?
Yeah, it's giant mech.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I have war stories
can
from
walk
the
through
first
things.
one for that
Oh,
thing.
God, yeah. They just walk through a building. They don't give a fuck.
Yep. He walked right through a building and one shot my sniper that had over 100 kills on him, and been
Yep.
with me since the beginning of the game.
That's
That's
XCOM, baby. Yeah.
So when you go to sleep tonight, imagine a Terminator that can walk through buildings. That's what you should think about.
Yeah. So my conclusion on XCOM 2 is it's fucking brilliant. It's
Awesome.
absolutely awesome. Cool. Let's take a break, and we're going to plug our sponsor today, who is, of course, squarespace.com/cooptional. I've created the best ad in the universe. I'm really confident that this ad is going to do well and not get us fired. So we're going to play this ad, and when we come back, of course, we're going to get to hear from everyone else about the games they've been playing this week. I'm particularly curious about Ross, because he plays some really awesome old stuff, and I'm looking forward to hearing about that. So... Our spoiler alert right here. This is a sponsorship break. We need this money. Please give it to us. And we'll be right back after the break with yet more co-optional podcasts. Don't go anywhere.
TB!
What? Can't you see that I'm busy enjoying this 8-bit inspired roguelike retro puzzle platformer?
Your hobbies can wait. Thanks to my exceptional negotiating skills, we've renewed our Squarespace sponsorship deal. I need you to get to work right away on some new ad scripts.
Oh, well, that shouldn't be a problem. Let me just get Dodger and Jesse in on this so I can write some highly referential humor based entirely on in-jokes and pointless absurdity. That should be an ideal way to promote a service that allows you to build a professional-looking website with absolutely no experience required, right?
Great. Get it done as soon as you can. And remember, it's squarespace.com/cooptional to get 10% off of your first order. Make sure to mention that multiple times.
Squarespace.com/cooptional?
Squarespace.com/cooptional. Yes.
Okay, I think I can fit that in somewhere. Yeah, squarespace.com/cooptional. Got it. Okay, Dodger and Jesse, let's Ah, crap. They're at some silly video game convention. No matter. With my extensive voice acting experience and years of tolerating their nonsense, this will be simple.
TB, help! I'm getting married to my overly handsome, muscled yet battered XCOM boyfriend, Sam Strippin, and I really want to share our wedding photos with the entire planet, repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over again. The problem is, neither of us know how to design a website. What can we do?
Ah, yes, I have the perfect solution. Squarespace.com/cooptional. Squarespace is already used by professional photographers to showcase their work. It's simple to set up, and yet you can create an incredibly elegant and stylish design with no experience required, while uploading and organizing massive galleries of photos with ease.
Oh, TB, thank God you're here. Listen, the office is costing us way too much, and I need to sell off some of this gaming merchandise that I shamelessly took from insert latest video game expo here in order to afford our heating bills, because LA is extremely cold all the time, you see. How can I possibly do this? Is the technology here yet?
Well, yes it is. Check out squarespace.com/cooptional to build a business with no e-commerce experience required. Squarespace has easy-to-use yet powerful storefronts and the ability to accept payments instantly. It's simple, secure, and professional.
TB, hurry up. We need the Squarespace ad finished for the latest show.
No problem. I'll just set up a website on squarespace.com/cooptional to solicit some ideas for the script. Thanks to the excellent selection of impressive templates, I'll be taken seriously as a businessman.
There's something a little odd going on here, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
You're probably just being blown away by the generosity of 10% off your first order at squarespace.com/cooptional. I know I was, but we don't have time for that now. I've got to write the script for this Squarespace ad. Squarespace. Build a professional-looking website with no prior experience required. Whatever your passion, share it with the world in elegance and style. Squarespace. You should.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast. JP couldn't even be asked to be on camera for this part. Oh, look at the Twitch shilling that's going on right there. I'm a Twitch partner. Look at how special I am.
I was unpacking because I haven't even unpacked from PAX yet.
Yeah, no, sure, yeah. You're so busy on Twitch, where you're a partner.
Yeah,
Indeed. One of those Twitch partners.
It's even got my name on the back. Look at this.
Oh, you sellout. You fucking sellout.
And the year that I started at Twitch. Look at that.
I don't even have one of those. I don't even got one of those.
Great. It's great.
You nailed it.
Woo! Fuck YouTube gaming. Anyway, sorry.
It's okay. I didn't worry about my relationship with them anyway. Ross, I would love to hear what you've been playing, man, because you have a very interesting taste in games, which is why I really enjoy watching the Game Dungeon, since you come up with a lot of stuff that's like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was really unique and interesting. So I'd love to hear what you've been playing over the last few weeks. What's been going on?
Okay, well, yeah, lately I haven't been playing anything, but before that I had a nice spree where I had a block of free time. Environmental Station Alpha is when I played. It's sort of a low-res Metroid clone. It's pretty good. It has multiple endings. It gets insanely hard towards the end, but let's see. But yeah, it's really a Metroid clone, just a little bit different mechanics. Are you much into kind of Metroidvania games? Is that a genre that you particularly into? Or you just decide I like it. Well, I mean, I have to like the theme of the game too, but I've actually been trying to focus on games lately that I think will not benefit from virtual reality at all.
Okay.
And just save everything later once that all finally comes out. So you know, 2D stuff or top-down things. Next one, I think you played. Yeah, you covered Waking Mars. Enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
again, it's kind of Metroid-y. It's sort of like a non-violent Metroid gardening.
Indeed, yeah. It's Mars, like, what if you cross Metroid with Harvest Moon or something? Like,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was
pretty
good.
Is there shooting in that game? That looks. I'm watching a video.
There
of
is some combat, yes, but it's mostly about like waking up the beings and the sort of flora and fauna of Mars.
It's like plant everything on Martian caverns. That's the game. You know? Just plant more.
I know I put a lot of people off in terms of its art style, which, I mean, it's very subjective, but I kind of agree with it. I don't necessarily like those sort of 2D art styles where it looks like the characters don't really have any depth to them.
Like somebody cut it out and put it on.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're like stickers, you know, basically. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I thought that game actually had some really interesting new ideas and mechanics, and having to grow the various plants in order to actually get access to the next part of the mission I thought was really cool.
Well, generally, if you make a game where something mysterious is going on Mars, I'm in, you know. So,
have you played?
That's good enough setup for me.
Have you played Tharsis yet? The game about rolling
I've
dice
heard of it,
and
but
not
then
dying?
I saw that Yeah, I've heard about it. It sounded like it was like you were saying you don't like games that depend on a die toss in order to be. It gave me that vibe just from what I saw that
That's
it
exactly
was
what it
like
is.
that. So
Yeah.
I don't mind hard, but if you've lost before you've even begun, you just don't know it yet. I don't know.
Tharsis definitely seems to have that problem. A lot of people have complained about it.
Yeah, I saw a Penny Arcade comic on it. It was Dex. That one was one I've been looking forward to. It's like if you took Deus Ex, gave it a Blade Runner kind of theme, and made it into a 2D side scroller. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I have
it was great.
I watched Giant Bomb's video on Dex. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it has nice atmosphere. Voice acting's great. The personalities in it are great. The mechanics are all pretty solid. So.
I go look at the trailer and immediately it's like, "Hi, I'm Jennifer Hale doing a trailer for this game." It's like, God damn it, Jennifer Hale, you're everywhere.
Every time you absolutely cannot escape her. Yeah, I mean that game. Most of its publicity, I think, came from the fact that it ended up in a Cyberpunk double with zero punctuation. He talked about Dex, and almost nobody else has actually, which is a bit unfortunate.
Well, I did like this sort of games I was looking forward to. Sometimes, there'll be these lists of games that are coming out, like Rock, Paper, Shotgun will have them, and there'll just be hundreds of games on there.
So many, yeah.
So just kind of scroll through like, oh, yeah, that might be neat. That might be neat. And then keep a list. And
I didn't realize it kind of had a brawling mechanic to it. I'm a big fan of brawlers. I love my Streets of Rage and my Golden Axe, and it seems like some of the combat's a bit like that. Would you say that's true?
My understanding is that, yeah, although I think it changes a lot from different patches or the different difficulty mode. But yeah, if you want to, I'd say almost certainly you can play that game just brawling
Punching
focus.
People? Great.
Yeah.
I love the art style in particular. It definitely reminds me a bit of the way that the new Shadowrun Returns game looked. It's got a nice neon look to it.
Maybe you've figured this out better than I have, but I feel like some games you feel like it's a game and it just kind of feels like feels almost modular, like you're putting things into it. And where other games sort of feel like they have their own life to them, like in the world. And this gave me that kind of feeling.
Yeah, it has a cohesive art direction. It's not like things haven't just been plugged in there for the sake of it. Everything was designed to evoke a particular feeling.
Yeah, or you feel like there's more there than what you're seeing. I love that feeling and stuff.
Yeah, this actually looks really interesting. It has not been on my radar at all, I have to admit. Is it still in early access, or did this actually come out?
No, I almost never touch anything early access. I'm patient, and the thing I love about early access is when it comes out of early access, you know what? That game's probably good to go.
Yeah.
Whereas
Darkest
most
Dungeon
a brand new, you were saying XCOM too. You have bugs. You have an early copy, but still, you're talking about day one patches. I almost treat new games now as just late betas. Like I just assume but if it's a game coming out of early access, it's like, wow, they must be ready to go.
They're ready to go, yeah. And sometimes you're right about that. Darkest Dungeon came out very recently, and I thought that's an absolutely excellent game as a result of early access. There's other games like Broforce and Prison Architect, but you're one of kind of a growing number of people, especially on PC, who are basically patient gamers. Because they realize, you can get games so much cheaper if you just wait a little bit, and they're better.
It's like the industry is training us to wait, because especially if you can wait for like a Steam sale or GOG or anything like that. I mean, I do most of my game shopping during heavy sales, and that's it. And again, if you wait, it's all patched. It's good to go. I mean, you can't because that's your job to cover.
Yeah, but for
new
a regular
games. But for
consumer,
anybody who has the luxury, it's just so much more affordable if you can wait like a year or two.
Perfect example is Witcher 3. Like that game today versus day one is there's very little bugs. They've added so much shit to that game that makes it a far better experience than it was when it first launched. It warrants like an extra
Witcher for $1.50, and I've bought Witcher 2 for $3.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. This is what
you save some money, and you could probably find Witcher 3 around $20 sometime soon for a sale. I would imagine it's going to drop down.
I think by the time I get through the other two, it'll have gone down even more.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right.
By the time we get to the other two, we're actually have transformed into sentient energy beings at this point, and we're gaming purely through our minds.
And the nice thing, too, is being patient now, especially on PC, in the past. Oh, I missed some joke. Okay.
No.
No, don't worry. It was just a really bad joke from me. It's okay. My humor's just that bad. It's okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't even spoil anything. We're good.
Yeah,
We're
but
good.
like, I feel like graphics on a lot
I
of
hate all
games,
of you,
especially
by the way.
ones that go for a more dated style or 2D, if a game is a couple years old, it doesn't even necessarily
matter.
look that much worse. I mean, yeah, a AAA title that's pulling out all the stops, you'll see the difference. But everything else, it's not like, in the early 2000s or the 90s where you're playing an old game, yeah, you know it. It's...
Right.
Whereas now it's kind of equalized, I think, in terms of graphics. I mean, yeah, they'll still keep getting marginally better and better, but for studios that have a ton of money too.
Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely on the cheap ass end of the spectrum as far as gaming, and
It's the way to go. I mean, for the majority of
There's
gamers,
so many games too,
especially on PC. Because then the ridiculous meme about PC is that you've always got to have the latest and greatest tech, which is absolutely not true at all.
Hey, my video card is from 2012, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I am going to upgrade for virtual reality because I almost feel like that's going to be like a, like an ADBC kind of event for some games.
Yeah, for some games, like, if you like Truck Simulator or Elite Dangerous, if you like racing games or flight simulators or space games, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm already on the VR bandwagon. I've got the VR gear for my phone, and that's really awesome, but I cannot wait for Oculus.
I had a taste. It wasn't even virtual reality, but back in like early 2000s, I used what were called the Elsa Revelator glasses, where they made the game actually 3D out of a regular CRT monitor.
Yeah.
And it was wonky, buggy, but when it worked well, it was like being in another world.
Yeah.
And virtual reality sounds like it's going to be just that much better. So the analogy I've made is if you've seen Star Trek Generations, you know how Malcolm McDowell was in the Nexus sort of utopia state and he got ripped out and he's trying to get back. That's how I feel about virtual reality. So that's why I'm trying to play games that...
stars. Please stop that.
Well, no, it's coming to me. I don't have to do anything. It's
Guardian's
good.
gonna get you, man. She's been watching you for millennia. She's coming for you.
Yeah, so this, I feel like in the future, it may get as bad where I only want to play either like full 3D, I'm in the world games, or just 2D stuff. Because 2D is different enough that it's not, But if I see a 3D, I'll be like, man, I wonder what it's like being inside that
VR,
world. I want to go in the... like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of challenges, certainly, in making traditional
Oh,
genres
yeah.
work with it. Definitely. But,
very emergent.
But it's very interesting. I think it's a really interesting piece of tech, and hopefully it's going to result in some really cool experiences. I certainly hope so. What else have you been playing?
Yeah, I had Nice Spree. It was Out There, a Mega
Out
Edition.
There, a Mega Edition, yes. Yeah, that's kind of in space survival strategy game.
Yeah, I really like the thing. It's one of these games where if you play it a little too much, like how I did, then you start to see all the cracks and everything and how it goes out. It's a more simple game, but just kind of going through it, I loved it. I mean, I love the atmosphere. It's kind of what I would describe it as sort of like FTL without the fighting kind of thing. It's
more
just more
survival.
survival. And you get to land on these alien planets, which I like. And these aliens look like aliens. This is what I would expect aliens to look like, not as opposed to Star Trek aliens, where they just do a little makeup here and then change the skin color. It was cool. It has some narrative to it, great music, just really great atmosphere. But it is a simple game, but it's really enjoyable for what it is.
Yeah, once you figure out the mechanics, but it takes you a good amount of time to do that. And also, like, you can also play it on your phone for like $2, and at that point, it's like, okay, I think I got my money's worth out of this.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a memorable experience, I guess.
Yeah, and a Mega Edition is a lot better. Like, when it first came out on phones, I did play it because I heard, it's like kind of like FTL. I'm like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, okay, I can kind of see where you're getting part of that from, but there's definitely like an optimal way to solve it, I feel. But that's okay. If you can't figure that out for like the first few hours and you still had a bunch of fun with it for a couple of dollars, I'm okay with that.
That really is, that's a really one of those examples where when I failed, it's almost like I didn't think, oh man, I failed? I didn't think I was going to. I thought I had this. It's like, well, I have it for sure this time. I did that like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
Just...
It's like
and
a
it
lot of
has
those,
a difficulty
management
slider
games,
too. You can play this on easy if you want, which is still kind of challenging actually. But
yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth checking out on mobile. It's also out on Steam, although it's a lot more expensive on Steam.
Yeah, it's $10.
Yeah, get it on mobile for like $2. It's the same game.
Cool. And let's see, yeah, Two others. Everybody's heard of this. I played one of the Dawn of War expansions, Winter Assault, because I wanted something with snow. It's striking me as very average. I may give up on it now because there's just so many games. So I wanted to check it out. I've only played the first Dawn of War, so I thought I might kind of go through the series.
If you're going to go through the series, let me make a recommendation. Do not play Soulstorm. Soulstorm is fucking terrible. And not only is the storyline awful, the voice acting and writing is terrible, and also if you're a 40k nerd, you will lose your mind at how much they break canon in that game. Like
that probably won't bother me.
It bothered the hell out of me because I'm an awful human being. But the interesting thing is that Dawn of War 2 kind of almost changed the genre. Like, Dawn of War is a strategy game. Like, it's a real-time strategy.
It's
Dawn of War 2 is almost more like a real-time squad-based action RPG. Where,
oh my god! Yeah, now I have to play it. Yeah,
and I love that. Like, I
Dawn of War
prefer,
2 is an awesome game as well.
Yeah, I preferred the
game.
multiplayer of Dawn of War 1 because of the strategy element, but the single player of Dawn of War 2 and it's the first expansion for it is really good. That's the Chaos expansion. That's awesome. The second expansion's not so good because, like, hey, you can play as all these races. Yes, but their campaigns are a lot weaker kind of as a result of that because they didn't put as much time into them. But Dawn of War 2 is more like you have these Space Marines and they have certain abilities and they level up and they get gear and you can get rare drops and, you know, they each have their own personality and voice acting. And you are playing with a very small group of Space Marines and you're being tactical and you're moving from cover to cover, using abilities and covering each other. I fucking love Dawn of War 2.
So it's almost more tactical than strategy then.
Yeah, it almost is. It really almost is. In the multiplayer, they actually get rid of all the buildings except for your main base, and it's just about getting resources and building units. That's all it is. Like, the base building is completely gutted. And for some people, that was actually really great. And I actually appreciate it. I think Dawn of War 1, for me, was a more enjoyable multiplayer experience, but the single player in Dawn of War 2 is absolutely worth your time. And the expansion is too, by the way. So it's killer. Absolutely killer. Love it.
And I think the only other one I played was Shadow Complex that came out for PC. Because that's one I always wanted to play. But I haven't seen this before where I saw an announcement saying, oh, Shadow Play is coming to PC. Like, oh, great. I was interested in this. And 2 days later, okay, yeah, it's out now. It's free. I was like, what? I'm just not used to that.
That was a very strange situation. It was really weird. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but it's good that it came out because Shadow Complex is a great game.
I guess Epic's trying to just push their platform, I guess.
Oh, they announced that at PlayStation. No, what? That was
it's a few years old.
The original
many
game
years old, actually. It was one of the first really good Xbox 360 arcade games.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when they announced it for PC, they said. Or no, they announced that they're remastering it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
they're
just
like,
2 days later,
download
okay,
now
it's
for
out
PC.
now, it's free.
Yeah.
Download for PC. Just go check it out now. Free. I remember that. I need to go look at that because I really enjoyed the 360 version of that game.
Actually, I looked at a comparison video. They cleaned up some of the graphics too, and by that I mean they got rid of the brown filter all over everything in some sections. I thought
the Xbox 360.
I've never been a fan of just tinting the hell out of your picture. You know, I like just normal colors. So
I agree. Yeah,
had a lot of that. So yeah, well, it was the first time I played it. It was a lot of fun.
It is excellent. If you haven't played Shadow Complex, if you like, basically, it's a more futuristic Metroidvania game, essentially.
Yeah,
and it's
sort
really
of
good
like
a
near future Metroid-ish kind of thing.
You know what the best thing about that game is? So
the alternate ending's pretty good.
The alternate ending, yeah. So I'm going to put a spoiler alert up just for people that don't want to hear about this alternate ending because it's fucking hilarious. I love it.
I'd love to see more games adopt this style of alternate endings.
All right, spoiler alert is now on, so if you don't want me to spoil the alternate ending, then you need to mute right now, and I'll turn the spoiler alert off when it's done. So the game basically is like your girlfriend gets kidnapped, very stereotypical. And you go and save her. Yeah, by a kind of spy organization. The alternate ending, instead of going to go and save her, you get in your car and go home. Done. That's the alternate ending to the game. The game ends right there. And you're
how do
happy.
You get that? I didn't even know that was an alternate ending.
And then he's listening to music on the radio. It's like, there's other fish in the sea.
I don't care.
He's just like, okay, well,
that's the alternate ending. You just leave her. It's it. And that ends the game.
You just turn around at the beginning of the game, or how do you get it?
Yeah, you turn around, go back to your car, and go home. Eventually.
First you go in there to try to get her, but then she gets dragged in even deeper, but then you can get out if you want.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
they're
wow.
just like,
I
fuck
didn't
it,
know
this
that.
is too much work. And then you just go home and listen to music. It's great.
Yeah. He
I didn't
doesn't
know
look
that at
sad
all.
either. He's just like, all
great.
right, well.
It's so funny. Yeah, I love it. All right, spoiler
It's like a
alert going
Far
off
Cry
now.
4 ending.
It's very
Or-
Far Cry 4, yeah. Definitely Far Cry. But I mean, this came out way before Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
So it is one of those. There are only a couple of games that have those really cool alternate endings, but I was really pretty happy with that. But like, it's a rip off of Far Cry 4. Yes, it's a rip off of a game that came out 10 years after it. Sure. Yeah, the time travelers. Whoa. Yeah, if anything, Far Cry 4 ripped off Shadow Complex in that regard. But hey.
Probably.
Yeah, that's about it.
Good game.
I've been trying to get games that will not benefit from virtual reality. So
It's a good bet. It's a good
and
bet.
just save it all for later. So.
Can you give us a spoiler as to what your next game dungeon is going to be? Because I'm really curious.
Okay, do you want to just me tell you flat out, or just some hints?
I prefer you only do it through subtle hints and
Subtle hints.
weird
Okay,
riddles.
so
Let's go with
subtle
some hints and
hint.
weird riddles. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a DOS
Good job,
game.
Jesse. I agree. Good job.
It's a
The-
DOS game? Okay.
Yeah, and let's see. I'm trying to think of like what hints to give. Okay, yeah, no, okay. Here's a big hint. Here's a big hint.
I'm waiting to figure this out.
It's an Apogee game,
Okay.
so that narrows it down quite a bit.
It does. It does. I wonder if it's the one that I
Especially-
think it is.
Well, you'll.
I won't. I'm not going to spoil it. For
I
people,
feel
but-
bad I don't have this out today, but hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, it should be out right now.
Awesome. Yes.
So-
So click on it. You know, he's right below his name.
Yeah,
right
for
there.
YouTube.
That's where to go.
it-
Yeah, for
Twitch.
YouTube.
So you have to wait. So you're in the
You
future
know,
now watching
Give us
this.
one more hint.
Okay, Apogee is pretty big, man. Okay.
Yeah, one more hint.
Okay. Jeez.
Does it
very
have
creative.
5 letters in its name?
It's very creative. Oh, 5 letters. Oh man, that might be narrowing it down though, because
Okay, I don't want to ruin it for
letters.
people.
I'm trying to think of like their library, but
Apogee put out some great stuff. They really did. Love it. Well, they were like
help me out
along
here.
with
Help
id,
me
they
out
were like
here.
the kings of shareware.
oh yeah,
me some-
yeah. I mean, it's
Give me something.
He's already given you something.
I'm giving you a lot, man.
Yeah, man,
Like
that's
I
enough.
mean, how many games did Apogee put out? Like 20 or 30 or something like that? Or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's at least 3 that I think you could probably choose from. And that's
well,
not good enough.
that leads to the mystery. of
Indeed,
it.
that is the mystery. Can't ruin it.
Tell you what, here I'll give you another hint, Jesse, for
Thank
something better. For the one after this.
That doesn't help me now.
Okay, well, never mind then, if you don't want it.
I don't want
Jesse
that.
is the queen of spoilers on this show. Like, he can't stand it when he doesn't get to spoil something.
Oh.
Are you playing what? What are you playing? What are you playing? Fuck you. What are you playing?
I like that Jesse doesn't know now. No more tips, Ross. We're
This is
good.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let him
I
suffer.
mean,
Let him
yeah,
suffer.
Just
yeah.
let him
doesn't even
stew.
want-
Let him stew. Let him sit there
I
and
think,
stew.
like, yeah, well, I'm going to do this with my own fans then later for helping them figure out what the game after this is.
Yeah.
Because it could almost deduce that based on other stuff. If I gave you the hints, but you don't want them, so.
No, that would ruin it.
So what have you been playing, Jesse or JP? Or
Those guys were at PAX, weren't they? Did you?
I've been playing a lot though, still, because I do sponsored stream at PAX.
Yeah, you get paid for that nonsense.
Yeah,
Jess is really salty right now. I mean, we could talk about the Division. JP, did you play the Division? You played
That's
it,
what I
right?
played at PAX. That was the one. Of the
Okay,
sponsors.
well that's a good place to start then, because that's a nice little crossover to the PAX stuff. Because I played a ton of the Division as well, so I'd like to hear what you think of it first. Like, it's
I mean,
Ubisoft's latest and greatest, always connected looter
Yeah.
shooter game. What did you reckon to it?
I feel like the pitch that Ubisoft's wish it could do is that imagine if you took Destiny and put it on the PC and made it like a modern military shooter RPG, and that's the Division.
That is exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a really good time with that. I came back and they extended the beta to this morning at like 6 a.m. or something. So luckily I was able to play it again last night. But there's only like one mission in the game and like one side mission.
Yeah,
and
it's a
bunch of,
very
like,
limited beta.
Yeah, and I guess as it should be. I think the community manager was on Lyric Stream like Friday maybe. He was saying that the main story is going to take about 10 hours to get through, which sounds about right for that.
not
Then I
that
think
long.
every story mission has like a hard mode in it that you can
It
farm
does, yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, I think my biggest issues with that game is it sounds like Ubisoft is not doing the right process in the fact that a lot of stuff is not checked when you send client to server side. And so a lot of people were all like going in and giving themselves like a billion FPS or a billion DPS and a billion armor.
Yeah,
and then the server was just like, yeah, no, that works.
So what they said is that
They
the
just go and
anti-hack
destroy
stuff
everyone.
was not in the beta, but it will be in there. And I believe they actually used it to gather data on how people were hacking. So they're going to be able to ban that stuff when it comes in. But there was definitely hacking in the beta, no doubt about that. And there's a lot of client-side stuff.
There was an invisible bug or something.
Oh, God, I died to the invisible bug so many times. Like, hey, it's invisible
saw it.
players gunning you down. This is really fun. I'm glad that I stayed up for this.
Yeah, I never went into the dark zone except for like once.
I spent most of my time in there because it's the only interesting part of the game. Like, the rest of it is dull.
Can you explain it in the sense of like, I understand
works,
there's basically
or?
24 people in there, and
All
of those 24 people you can go aggro on because they go and collect items. Then you get their items. Then you have to take the only way you get those items is by getting a helicopter and like guarding that.
Pretty
Although
much.
everyone else can see it, and then it goes up in the air, and you get those
Yeah,
items.
I mean, you've given the basic rundown. Essentially, the Dark Zone is an open PvP area that also has some PvE objectives in it, and usually higher-level mobs. When you go into that area, you are in there with about 24 other people. And you don't know where they are unless they're in your squad. And every item that you get in the Dark Zone is contaminated by the virus that's taken over New York. So in order to get the items out, you need to extract them via this helicopter, which will apparently wash them down and make them all pretty for you. But you can only carry 6 items at any given time. So once you've got 6 items from the Dark Zone, and once you've picked the loot that you want, you need to get to the helicopter area, call in an extraction, which takes a minute and a half, and then for some stupid gamey reason that has nothing to do with real world logic, you can only fit 4 packs of items on the line to go into the helicopter at any given time, which means that they've artificially limited the amount of items you can get out at any given time, which causes people to fucking kill each other in order to get a spot on the helicopter. So what they're encouraging you to do is everyone starts neutral, but you can go what's called rogue. If you shoot a player enough times, you go rogue. You can kill them, you can take the items that they're currently carrying. And you can take some of their currency too. But of course, if somebody kills you while you're rogue, they get a bounty. But if you survive for long enough for you to go unrogue again, you get a reward at the end. So it's a whole zone about deciding whether or not the people around you are dicks and whether or not you can trust them. And it's a very interesting, compelling aspect to the game.
Aren't they always dicks in multiplayer?
I hated that.
Yeah,
I hated it when
much.
I played that.
I mean, it's like it sounds great in theory, but
I hated it when I played.
You would be surprised how many people aren't, because there's there's a risk to being a dick. Like, there's a real risk.
Okay, well,
it
that's
pops
good.
up
That's
and like
good.
everyone can tell that you're rogue, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
as soon as you go rogue, you start to kind of ping on the map a little bit, and you get a little skull above your head with a timer. If you keep going rogue, it starts a manhunt, which shows everyone in the area where you are, and they get a huge amount of reward. For
Can you go
killing you.
rogue as a group? Like as
Yes,
a
Long time
you
coming.
actually do go rogue as a group. If one person in your
That's
group goes
awesome.
rogue, the entire group goes rogue.
That's really cool. If you get like a nice area where you're set up and no one can.
There was a legendary camping spot in that zone where everyone used to sit because they could just pick you off from there. It was really annoying, and it was hard to flank you. So that happened a lot. But that was the most interesting part of the game to me, because the rest of the game to me plays like Gears of Borderlands. It's just it's a third-person shooter with loot, and the loot makes no sense because it's supposed to be it's supposed to be set in the near future, but there's guys that are taking 20 shots and not going down. It's like, this guy's wearing a hoodie and could take a headshot from a sniper rifle. What the fuck is this?
We were talking about this at PAX. If they didn't have, so have you? I'm sure you've played Destiny, right, TB?
Yeah, I played a bit of it, but I don't like it.
You
'cause
played
it's on
enough to
console.
understand that they don't have
I understand how
health
it
bars
works.
in that game.
Yeah.
If they didn't have health bars in this game, would you still feel? Sorry, the idea of like the enemies are sponges.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
because
still, I
you
still
can
feel
see
less
the
sponges.
HP.
Even if they hit the HP, it would be obvious. Because if you put a marksman's rifle on someone's head and you pull the trigger and they're not wearing a helmet and they don't go down, that to me is like a huge immersion breaker. It really is.
Yeah, we were just talking in XCOM how you were, you like weapons that do a lot and the enemies do a lot.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, and you don't get that feeling with this game. And some people say, oh, well, if you get overpowered weapons and you fight the guys that are 3 levels lower than you, well, no shit. If you fight guys that are 3 levels lower than you, have the most OP weapon in the game, they're going to go down fast. But the footage that I showed deliberately was fighting the same level mobs as the gear I had, which is basically I was using level 7 superior gear against level 7 mobs. And the time to kill, especially on the boss mobs, was way too fucking long for me.
And they kind of get away with saying like, "Oh, it's armor."
It's an RPG.
Well, it's an RPG, but it's also armor that you're killing, not.
Yeah,
HP,
but you're
'cause the
not,
HP
because
goes
they're
real quick.
wearing a scarf. It's obvious. You know, it is.
I think that'll be the number one issue that people have.
The game is all about stats. Like, if you can get past that point, you don't have a problem with it. But I have problems getting past that point with games that, especially when they have Tom Clancy's name on it, you know?
Yes, and visually it kind of feels more real, like, in terms of how it looks. You know, you expect people to go, like, kind of the...
It looks like a modern military shooter where if you shoot someone, they're going to die in like 2 or 3, especially if it's a headshot, they're going to die. Yeah. I will say, though, I feel like that game joins a very small group of games that look like they are delivering the next-gen experience, even though they don't look like it did when
beautiful.
they first showed.
I mean, it's a gorgeous
but it's still
game.
gorgeous, and the animations are really good. They're not as good, like I said, when it first showed, where like the guy walked up and like shut the door.
Of course not. I mean,
when you walk by the doors, they still shut, but your guy's not putting his hand on it and shutting it.
Yeah, Ubisoft is the worst when it comes to showing what's basically
they make really good trailers.
Yeah, a bullshit trailer, and then the final game looks nothing like that. But it still looks really pretty. I mean, it's got some of the best snow I've ever seen in the game, awesome lighting effects, you know, great animations. It's a triple A experience, no doubt. But I don't think I like that genre. I don't think I like looter shooters, you know, where the sole point is gun down a bunch of enemies to get some loot that slightly upgrades my damage. I just don't find that fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
You know, something I haven't seen in many games, I saw it in the old one, Sin, that might work for this, is make your armor really count. So, like, if something hits you in the armor, you could keep going. You could be the bullet sponge, but if they're really good with their aim,
they can
or
hit
you like on the neck.
Armor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then
that would work.
I feel like that might work for this kind of format, where you want that realism, but not too real sort of middle ground.
That authenticity.
Because that way your armor could, if you have a helmet and armor, like, oh boy, better not touch that guy. You know, but...
It is a fine line that they don't have in there that does exist in games like that, where I don't know how you could... A perfect example is like if you've played Rainbow Six Siege, that game feels kind of like how a modern... Like, people die very quickly in that game is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Right.
But you can't have that in like an RPG, a loot-based RPG, where DPS and numbers factor in so much and skill is less of a factor. And even King Gathalion, who's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Destiny streamer, was saying that he feels like stats are the number one priority in there, and skill is very little. Like, as long as you're putting a reticle on that guy, no matter where you shoot him, you're going to do all right in that game. And you're going to be able to get items. And that's maybe another issue that a lot of people have. But at the end of the day, like, it's Destiny on the PC, and that's something that a ton of people have been wanting forever.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, the closest we've had is Warframe, which is fucking awesome, by the way, but it's not quite the same as what people were looking for.
Yeah.
But,
I
mean, I wasn't that enthused by it, honestly.
The one thing that really kind of, like, pissed me off is how... the menus in that game are great. I really love the HUD and the UI, but I don't like having to use WASD to get around in a menu. Like, if I'm playing on a PC, it's the primary means of getting around. Like, spacebar is enter and WASD.
There's definitely a spacebar, but I found almost everything was mouse-driven in that game.
It is, but it's easier to get around with, like, WASD. Like, I feel like it was designed and ported from a console version.
There's absolutely a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah. And so that kind of frustrated me, but it's a small tidbit. I'll definitely be playing it on launch just because I love games where numbers get bigger and your damage gets more and more, and it fills that need that kind of Diablo put in me as a young child. So that works. And that sounds weird too, but I'm going to stay with it, Jesse. I'm going to fucking stay with it. You stop grinning.
Yeah, I'll try a bit of it when it comes out, but I don't like cover-based shooters at the best of times, you know? And this game is, you know, that plus other stuff that I don't like, and I just wasn't a big fan.
I would love to see some DayZ clones include that, here's the player killer option on the map. That would, oh man. I mean, obviously not everyone, but cool, man, some would really benefit from that as an option. I mean, I would love that.
It's specific server rules or something like that. Yeah, that'd be good.
It's interesting that they lifted that idea clearly from stuff like DayZ, and they're like, you know what, DayZ is way too punishing in that regard. Let's tone it down a bit, but people still like that feeling of tension and the kind of will he won't he.
It's perfect. So if you have the guts, you go ahead and kill those players, and they'll come to you.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people really liked it, and I'm cool with that. Hey, if you like video game, cool. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you not to like video game. I wish I liked it as much as you did. You know,
I feel like that game specifically is going to start this weird like all of the Destiny fanboys are going to come out and go into all the streams and all the YouTube videos and be like, Destiny's a better game. And it's going to be exactly what like the Warframe
Except
Destiny
it's not, because it's on
bullshit.
console.
Yeah,
So,
it's going to be nonstop.
You want Destiny to be a
forth.
better game? Put it on PC. You know, where you can use actual mouse and keyboard and run it at a proper frame rate. You know, then I'll care.
And you get your 10-hour campaign or something you were saying with this one too.
Yeah, it's like a 10-hour campaign, and then it's pretty much
Although-
farm side
10-hour
missions.
story missions, yeah. is what
It's
it is.
weird because it's like MMOs are almost dead now outside of Asia, right? It seems like it's only Asia that's making the MMOs, but now we have these kind of pseudo MMOs, you know, where
Right.
they're always connected, but they're sort of in instances and in lobbies, and they're sort of seamlessly between single player and multiplayer, that kind of thing. And that's what Destiny is, and that's what Division is, and honestly, it kind of suffers from that because MMOs are a lot about getting loot and upgrading your stats too.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's not what I want out of a pseudo-realistic Tom Clancy game. You know, I want something. I want something more.
Would
than that.
you, if it didn't have Tom Clancy, it didn't have anything like of that ilk tied to the game?
I
would you
like it.
still
I
not
like it more if I was killing zombies. I'm gonna be honest, like because
Really?
I wouldn't have that immersion issue. You know, if I was killing
You're
mutants
right.
or
You know,
something
that's
like
a
that,
good
yeah,
point.
it's a real sticking point for me. You know, it really is. I like to think that I'm very mechanically focused, but.
And maybe that's
that in particular is just a real bugbear for me when you have realistic guns that don't act in a realistic way.
What if
well,
they
why
came
did
out
you
and
use the
said-
realistic guns then?
What if they came out and said that you're fighting the contaminated people, and so they have they're more powerful?
I mean, it would help
They
a
just
bit,
bent
but
the-
it's
they bent the
blindingly
board.
obvious.
20
these guys-
hits. That's a lot of.
Yeah, it's like, come on, I just put
explaining,
20 hits into this guy's chest and he's
Yeah.
wearing a jumper. You know, it's like, that's the best woolly jumper I've ever seen in my life. That's incredible.
I really wonder how they're going to do. Destiny obviously has like bosses and raids and stuff like
It
that. I'm
does,
sure
yeah.
Division will eventually. I don't think they've talked about it at all
I don't
publicly.
know how they're going to do that. Because at least in
they-
Destiny, you
if
can have
you're-
a giant alien robot.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you
If
understand
you're
that it takes
fighting
some
a guy
punishment, you know?
with a vest, and it's like, oh, he's got the armored vest.
Yeah, because you
it's
already have
Caesar, and he's
bosses
a
in
boss.
Division, and it's like this boss has a machine gun, or this boss has an RPG, and can take a bunch of hits. It's like, dude, you know, in my footage, I show me repeatedly headshotting the boss at the end of the hospital mission, and
Right,
he just doesn't
guy on
give
the
a
roof.
fuck. Yeah, it's like plink, 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 and I'm using a police M4, which is a relatively decent gun. You know, I'm just hitting him in the head over and over and over and over and over again, and the damage numbers are coming off, and his armor's barely going down. Like, god damn it, this is silly, you know?
And the graphics realism probably doesn't help. That
No, it
feeling,
doesn't.
You know?
No, yeah.
Because I was almost thinking if it was like super stylized, it might kind
Borderlands,
of work
you know?
better, you know?
Yeah.
But if it looks real, but then just isn't acting real, then
Yes,
yeah,
there is a
kinda
big
hurts.
disconnection there, and I clearly accept that a lot of people don't have a problem with that, and that's great. But I do.
Yeah.
That is a real killer for me.
The other thing too, and we can move on after this. I really like the fact that if you're fighting the flamethrower guys and they turn their back to them, you can shoot the flamethrower thing and it blows them up. Like I love that
Looks
that's
awesome.
finally
Yeah.
we're getting to the point in the games where like
We
you
can
can
do that.
shoot people in a different area that's not a head and have something happen to them
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen to them anyway.
I love enemies that have those kind of little weak points that do all
I
sorts
love
of
that,
awesome
yeah.
stuff like that. You know, especially
great.
if they have a flamethrower. That's always fun.
It's great,
you know?
yeah. You get to see them catch on fire, the explosion around
They're
them.
like, ah, boom! Yeah, it's
Great.
It's great. Great. I mean, it's definitely not a new idea, but it's being implemented a lot better now. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
It's yeah, cool.
No, it's not a new idea. It goes
No,
back
not at
to-
all.
No,
yeah,
not
there's
at all.
plenty of
Not
games
at
used
all.
to do it. It's just
Yeah.
a lot of games do it a lot better now because they have better animation, they have more accurate
Yeah, yeah.
hitboxes. You know, it's definitely been done for a long time. But
For sure. Apart from all that, I've been playing. I played through all the Souls games in January, and we're finishing up Bloodborne right now.
oh
which it's proving, and I've played all them before.
Does that change your outlook on life now, going straight through?
I
them?
mean-
wow, are you just more miserable or are you more determined? I have to wonder.
It's a weird thing because, like, for Demon Souls, so like I have death. I played with a death counter in all of them. Demon Souls is like 56 deaths. Dark Souls 1 was like 73. Dark Souls 2 was 103 because it's a much longer game. In Bloodborne, I blew like 30 deaths on the first boss of the DLC today, which is one of the hardest bosses, if not the hardest boss in the game.
Yeah.
But I feel like I did not rage at all for the first 3 games. I was very composed. If I died, I was like, well, that was my fault, blah, blah, blah. Bloodborne is making me rage so fucking bad. And I think it's because I've been like 24 days straight of 5+ hours a day of Dark Souls. Is just
I couldn't
it's
do it,
fucking
man. I
insane.
couldn't do it. I'm a person that can handle XCOM, but the Souls games, they drive me up the wall sometimes.
I did really good this morning. I didn't rage at all. There was only one like pure hate moment of a boss. But apart from that, like I had almost 30 deaths on this one boss this morning, and I got like 2 or 3 hits away from killing him. Like,
Brave
you know
man.
what? We'll come back tomorrow. We'll come back tomorrow. But there's some fucking real cheesy shit in that game that gets me going, man. There's little fucking like, and I when I first played Bloodborne a year ago, whenever it came out, I didn't do all the bosses. So that's the other thing is I'm killing every boss in the game, including all DLC and all that shit. So it's a lot of stuff to do. And in this one, there's areas I've never been to, and there's a specific mob that's it's like a tentacle Cthulhu face monster. They're really not all that hard. They don't do a lot of damage, but they cast a spell that stuns you, and then they scurry up to you as fast as possible, grab you, and suck you for half your HP. And they take a currency in game called Insight, which is kind of, you can use it to buy different items. So I lost 30 Insight, which is about what you have just going through the game up to that point, and over 60,000 souls because I died to these guys like 2 times in a row. And it was the cheesiest shit because you come out of being stunned and being like in this fucking weird grasp, and you get stunned right away by this other one that's right next to you. And that was what I played right before I left for PAX. And I was
God,
like,
that sounds like fun.
I'm glad I'm leaving for 7 days. I don't have to fucking touch this shitty game.
Being stunned can kind of break you psychologically in games, like especially when they're walking up to you nice and slow, so you get to see.
It's exactly that.
In the expansion to the original Jedi Knight, Mysteries of the Sith, you could play as a bounty hunter that had this freeze gun. And you could freeze players there, and you could just take your time walking up to them. And sometimes you can like shove them off the cliffs, and you just moving them a step at a time. I mean, ew.
It's the worst. I mean, taking control away from a player is actually something that people get really pissed off about.
And then slowly tormenting you with it.
It's not, it's one, having no ability to move for something that's pretty hard to dodge, and then 2, you actually lose currency in game from it. Like you lose actual worthwhile time. And you're just like, fuck you! Like you're so fucking upset.
It's like you get to witness your doom step by step coming towards it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just that like you take that control away from you. I feel the same way about like Overwatch with the character that freezes people. Like she can just take her time, and then she shoots you in the head with an icicle, and you explode. Like I hate you so much.
Yeah, because you think you might thaw out in time and get away because they were too sloppy or something.
You'll never do it. You'll never quite make it.
It's taunting. It's cat and mouse.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that have done a lot to remove stun locking and really reduce stun locking because players find it very frustrating.
Yeah.
And then there's Dota, which gives no fucks and happily.
Yeah, there's like fuck it.
Yeah, they'll happily let you be stunned for 5 seconds at a time. That's cool.
Yep. So I'll probably do like I got to finish it Thursday because XCOM comes out on Friday. So like the streamer
it will
is
devour
like
your life, man.
It's like I got to finish it. And then the worst part is that I'm going from the Soul series, very ragey, blah blah blah, straight into XCOM. So I don't get any fucking break. I don't get to play like any passively fun game. It's just like rage upon rage.
So a month from now, you're going to be just yelling at people when people like ask you questions.
Move from misery to misery. Yeah.
Exactly. But then every night I usually get about 2 or 3 hours in Rainbow Six Siege, and that game I'm so excited.
Good.
I'm so excited for this update that came out today with the 2 new operators, and they also put a ton of new changes into ranked play specifically.
Cool.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Rainbow Six Siege is one of those very rare exceptions where I will usually go back and defend the old games to the death and say that they clearly did it the best. And I still think that the older Rainbow Six games are awesome. But they really put such a unique and interesting twist on this that I think they maintain the overall spirit of Rainbow Six, but they changed it into a really interesting multiplayer game that's very tactical, that's very slow-paced, and very tense, and has a bunch of unique, interesting ideas in it, and is different every time. I will defend Rainbow Six Siege to the death as being a really good fucking game.
My favorite part about Rainbow Six, and people that have watched me stream it and drop frames and all that stuff know that I say this, but I love the fact that the levels are a character themselves in that game, in the sense that you'll never enter into an area the same way twice because there's so many different ways to manipulate
the environment.
I'm like this, for example, a guy I watched play last night when I was going to sleep. There was a guy who was playing Glaz, one of my favorite heroes, operators, who put a hole in a wall at the very front of this thing and then went all the way to the opposite side and just stayed zoom into this hole.
That one
and the
hole,
second he saw a pixel like change, he took a shot and it was a headshot.
Yeah.
And then he did it again. He did it like 3 times
You
in a
could
row.
totally do it. Yeah,
and he
you
got
could
3
just
kills as
pop
an
a little
attacker.
hole in a wall and make
Yeah.
a little murder hole and use it as ambush, and that
It's so good.
because almost all of the terrain is destructible in some way,
Yep.
so you can put holes in it.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is play Glaz, the sniper, on the plane map. And Glaz is the only hero that can shoot through the windows on the plane. And so the second you spawn, if you just look up and pan on the windows and you see someone running by, you can actually just
pick 'em
headshot
off.
them through the fucking window.
Yeah.
And it makes them so fucking mad. Like, they call you a hacker right away in chat. It's the best. It's the best. But that game's awesome.
Sorry to keep jumping in, but
go ahead.
remember in the
By
Counter-Strike
all means, jump
beta,
in.
there's a level called Estate, and back then you could
Yes.
move the
Oh,
hostages, tell them to come
Yes.
with. And what I used to love to do, I'd love playing terrorist, where I would take the hostages. All right, you come with me. I would go up out on the top deck, drop a smoke grenade, get the hostages out there, so there's a nice silhouette of somebody standing there, and just start taking shots at people coming up. Oh man, like they would just the enemy. The people who weren't as aware would start shooting, and then you kill a hostage. What? And then they can't see anything. It sounds like that on the next level.
It
It
kind
was
of
just
is.
incredibly
It is, yeah.
fun.
I mean, one of the great tactics in Rainbow Six Siege is you shoot the hostage twice in the kneecaps, which is not quite enough to kill them, and then you take cover behind the hostage. So if the guys who are invading the room accidentally kill the hostage, you win the round.
Yep.
It's such a dick move.
And it's also super fun too. At the beginning of the round, the attackers are able to send these little RC cars in to try to like find
little
where,
drones.
to find where the objective is and to find out where the team is.
Yeah,
and
because
see
it changes
what they're
the spawn
fortifying.
every time as to where the objective is, which means that
Right.
it's going to be a different experience every time.
Exactly. So you send these cars in, and with the cars, like sometimes if you're lucky and the player's bad enough, or they just have a bad shot, you can jump in the crossfire between 2 guys. So if he takes a shot at your RC car, it's going to hit his teammate and kill him sometimes. And I've gotten like 2 kills, but I've put like, I don't know, 100 hours in this game. I've gotten 2 kills that way, or they've killed 2 people that way by just jumping up and having them try to shoot the car, miss, and shoot their teammate. And it's the fucking best. Like, I just laugh so fucking
I
hard.
love trickster stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the
And the
best.
game is
It's
full
just-
of that. Like, it's all about misdirection as well. Like, at one point,
Yeah,
we just, because
love
in that
it.
game, you can reinforce the walls to stop people from breaking through. So what we did was, usually, you can see the reinforcement. Like, oh, God, all right, so there's, like, pins through this wall. That means they're reinforced. That's where they are. We went and reinforced a completely different room and then just hid for the entire duration of the game. They thought we were in that room. By the time they broke in, they realized we're not there at all. We're actually somewhere completely different, and the time ran out and they're lost. It was like,
That's awesome.
you can trick people in that game so much, and there's so
I
much
love it,
sound involved in the game as well.
And the sound design's amazing.
Yeah, you can
It's
hear
the best
people
part of the game.
moving. If people are moving above you, like dust comes down from the ceiling, and you'll know that they're up there. And of course, like you can shoot through walls. Like if you think you know where they are, you can open up and maybe kill them that way. It's a hell of a game. Hell of a game.
And they put in the 2 new operators today that are like, I think they're part of the Canadian strike force. And I feel like they really
Do I get a
missed the
rideable
boat.
moose? Can I have that?
No, I feel like they really there's a female character, and I don't know why, but they didn't fucking call her Maple. Why did you not
Damn
do
it.
that? It's like the smartest thing in the world.
Why would you?
They fucking didn't do it. They had like
disgraceful.
it's an underbarrel shotgun, and then the other guy, what is it? I forgot what his upgrade is, or his
I don't know
thing
what it
is
is.
his-
Yeah,
I
I haven't
forgot
looked
what
at
it
it
is.
yet, but what I will say is that it's a very impressive game.
It is.
It definitely came out in a mess, and they didn't market it that well because people are like $60 for multiplayer only. That sucks. And it's like, well, it's actually not really multiplayer only. It does have missions, and it also has Terrorist Hunt.
Terrorist Hunt. Terrorist Hunt's really good.
It's
That's
actually
what
fun.
I played.
I like Terrorist Hunt.
I beat all levels on Terrorist Hunt on realistic.
Yeah, it's definitely a primarily multiplayer game though, but it's just a really good one, And I don't get bored of that game. I play it. We sink like 4 or 5 hour sessions at that game and don't even get bored ever. Like we're just keep playing. It's just so much fun. It's a different experience every time. We can pull all sorts of crazy shit. We get creative. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
And then final thing, I played a lot of it when it came out on Xbox One, about 2 or 3 hours, but I waited for the PC release. It's Tomb Raider. I jumped into it last night just to see how it runs and see how it looks.
My wife is loving that game.
That game is fucking good. That might be one of the best looking games I've ever seen. That game is so fucking good.
It's pretty beautiful.
It is such a fucking good looking game. It runs a little bit poor, at least on 1440p for me.
It's very
it
demanding.
doesn't quite,
yeah,
it doesn't quite break 60 FPS steady, but it's what a fucking gorgeous looking game that is. And I haven't even gotten past like the mountain part, which obviously it opens up into like a forest area right after that. So really excited to see what that game looks like as it moves forward. And so I'll probably be playing that as well.
I might take that on the cruise with me, actually. I might play that on my laptop because last time I went on the cruise, I took Metal Gear Rising with me and beat the whole game there, and it was great.
That's a great That's just a great,
cruise game. Yeah.
Sit back and just fuck shit up game.
Yep, sitting in my cabin playing Metal Gear Rising in the middle of the ocean. It's like, what a time to be alive. I think I might take Tomb Raider to do that.
Yep.
We'll see.
Then I also want to play Darkest Dungeon because I have not played the full release of that yet.
It's so fucking good.
I beat the original game the early access game last year when it came out, or when it launched early access, but they've added so much to it that I want to go back and play the full.
A bit of a spoiler, since you're going on a cruise, there is a level in Dex where you have to board a yacht.
Ah, there you go. I might bring Dex with me, I'm going to install a few games.
Yeah, I was thinking there's a few games where you have to board yachts, like Alpha Protocol.
You should just play the ship. Just find other people.
Oh, man. In real life. Yeah, you know it would work. I mean, this entire cruise is full of metalheads, so they'd probably be up for that. It literally is a metal cruise.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Yeah, that would be great, just playing this. I can't wait for the ship remastered. That game was so creative for its time, and it didn't do anywhere near as well as it deserved. And then, of course, Ubisoft lifted a lot of the ideas for the Assassin's Creed multiplayer, which actually worked pretty well, but I cannot wait to play the remastered version of the ship with streamers, with friends. It's going to be awesome. That game is so interesting.
What was that other game that came out that was like the ship, but it had
Bloody Good Time?
text-to-speech? No, it had text-to-speech in it, and you could type really weird shit in, but it was more like a murder mystery. There wasn't like any lethal elements.
I mean, I was going to say Spy Party, but that's not like that, I don't think.
I don't think so. I'll find it on Steam and just shout it out whenever I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, I was at PAX all week, so
I
didn't really have time to play.
absolutely love the ship. Yeah.
It's a good game.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll get Jesse to actually speak, and then we're going to do the news. That sounds like a good idea. Jesse just sitting there earning those Squarespace bucks by doing absolutely nothing.
He's got nothing.
He's not even trying, is he? Look at him.
He's got nothing.
Look at him. Look at those dead eyes.
No, they're not dead. I'm getting a lot of motion from that.
He's sad. He's so very sad. Like he's looking to join the Fine Brothers by the looks of it.
There you go. That should be in a boat.
I'm actually worried that something horrible's happened. We'll find out after the break, folks. You're watching the Corruptional Podcast.
Velvet Sundown. That's the name of it. There you go.
There we go. Don't go anywhere. Jesse's depressed. We'll be right back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Corruptional Podcast. Jesse, I'm going to poke you with a stick. Wake up.
What? I am awake.
Talk to me about PAX South. PAX South. What's been going on?
All right, so there were a ton of games that I played. I ran the gamut, man. I played everything.
I'm interested to hear this because I felt like at PAX there was nothing. But go ahead.
Played a ton of stuff. I played everything from like Dreadnaught to Quantum Chess, which for those of you who haven't played Quantum Chess, go watch that video with Paul Rudd and Stephen Hawking, narrated by Keanu Reeves. It is amazing. It's an amazing video, and it's
what?
It's Quantum Chess. There is like a 12-minute video of Paul Rudd getting an email from future Keanu Reeves to go play a game of Quantum Chess against Stephen Hawking for the future of mankind. I'm telling you, go find this video. It's amazing.
Is it like animated, or are these actually the actors?
It's the actors. It's the actor. And then at the end, they have a bit where they're like, I don't remember what the bit is, but like, Ted or maybe Bill, whatever one is. Ted, I think,
cameo from
pops up. He's like, shut up. He's like, shut. Yeah. Oh, it's great. The whole thing's great. Yeah, it's Paul Rudd learning to play quantum chess. Quantum chess is basically chess, but it uses like quantum theory to basically make it so you can have pieces in multiple places. So you can play normally and move your pieces, or you can I'm going to quantum maneuver my queen right next to your king. So there's a 50% chance she's there, or 50% chance where she was. Or I can move her again. So there's a 33% chance she's where she was, 33% chance she's right by your king, 33% chance she's right by your rook. And so it's like mind-boggling.
How do you
crazy.
Balance that? What the fuck?
Well, because it's like, I'm telling you, it's quantum theory. It's bonkers. It's so much fun, though. I don't know how to describe it to you. they only had it versus another person, so you had to play someone else who was there. I don't know what I did. I won twice, and I feel really good about myself. I don't know how I did it. Luck was...
My brain's melting out my ears just thinking about how this works.
I'm watching this video. They literally got fucking...
Stephen Hawking.
Jesse Cox is not lying. That was not a lie.
Yeah. I'm not lying. And this game wasn't like an actual game, like at an actual thing. It was like at the like one of the art schools. It was at LCAD. Is that who had it?
What the fuck?
I
don't know what LCAD is, but that's...
Whoosh, whoosh. That's the sound
I
of
want to give them credit for actually having it there.
Was that their booth or something?
The Laguna College of Art and Design. Yeah, it was at their booth. It was just a game at their booth.
It
wasn't even at, like, it didn't have its own booth. I was like, hold up. What is this? Because I remember that morning I went to, I think, Ain't It Cool News or something and saw it on their thing and was like, what is this? And it was the game. And I was like, I have to play this and then take a photo and be like, look at me, I'm basically Paul Rudd. And so I played. Wow. It's a crazy, it's chess. There's nothing exciting about chess, but it's chess. Except with quantum theory, so...
It's chess with complete chaos in it.
I used to play a bunch of Kung Fu chess when that was out, the real-time chess game. I found that to be quite fun, but it sounds like this is even crazier.
Oh, it's super crazy.
That's nuts.
So I think... I played a lot of games, but I think the three that definitely... Well, first off, you have to talk about Dreadnought, because that was like, I think...
What a fucking... That game's still good.
It's still great. I managed to actually have maybe an hour and a half playing it, and they added a ton of I said last year I thought the game was ready, but now when you see all the stuff they've added to it, there are multiple versions of each ship, and then within those multiple versions of each ship, you can customize it to make the ship specialized to what you want, and then you can also reskin them, add parts to it, change the ship so your Dreadnought looks totally different from someone else's Dreadnought. The thing that I really learned to love to play was I'm trying to think of what the damn thing... It's basically Sniper the ship. Whatever the thing's called.
The artillery ship?
Yeah, the one that you can just, there's multiple... So there's one where it fires one, giant sniping beam. There's one where it's, you can configure it so it fires several bursts.
I think that's just the artillery ship, yeah.
Yeah, it's the artillery ship. You can make it so the ship can go into siege mode. So that's one of the builds is you can make it siege mode, and shit comes off the side of it, and it gives it more damage and more stability and crazy stuff. But it also means that you're super effing slow.
That's why I love that, because I play Corvette and I just fucking run around at Mach speed and just destroy people.
Well, Corvette's great because there's so many multiple versions of the Corvette. I didn't know that it was the Corvette that I had played last year because there's a totally different version of it. So one looks kind of like the Deep Space Nine ship, but one looks like a totally different thing and has it
doesn't look anything like the Defiant. Don't even start with me.
Well, one does, and so there's multiple. Okay, fine, whatever. So there's multiple versions of it
on this,
and you can make it so your Corvette can be really fast and really maneuverable. And have a ton of weapons, or you can make it so your ship is, I'm going to throw on a cloak, and I'm going to fly around and be invisible. So
that's the best. That's what I had, yeah.
And that's one of my favorite, is to go all weapons, cloak, and then get right behind someone and unleash hell. You die real quick, but they see you.
You've beaten Dreadnought, Jesse. You've beaten that. I went 9-0 in one game. Great. I played it. It was so awesome. I felt so bad because we crushed the other team. It's a point game. We crushed them 100-7, Jesse.
I bet they were having a great time.
These people
I bet you
stood
really
in line
made their
for
PAX
an
experience.
hour, and we skipped the line.
You are the worst.
100-7.
You are terrible. What the hell is wrong with you?
We played. Yeah, we played. There's one version that we played that was one life. So if you get killed,
I didn't know that.
So yeah, there's a version where it's one life. So if you get killed, you come back as fighters and little fighter ships.
That's a neat idea.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
And so the objective is you come back as the fighters, and what happens is. One fighter alone isn't going to do much, but if two people on your team die, you can then take out a Corvette, and if that person's dead, so now they're fighters, and so as it goes on,
I love that idea. Yeah, it's you have player elimination, but you keep people in some meaningful way, so it does matter when you die, but it doesn't eliminate you from the game entirely. I like that. That's really cool.
The Dreadnought, I still think the best Dreadnought build, like there's multiple Dreadnought builds, and you can build one that's just like, I have every weapon in the world, or one that's like super defensive, and has like, there's one ability, and I don't remember which ship gets it, but it happened to me so damn much, it's like a jammer, and it makes your screen go, and
That's a Corvette. That's a Corvette. Yeah,
you can see nothing, and it's like,
best.
fuck you, and so
I love the Corvette. It's so
you
good.
can make like an amazing capital ship Dreadnought and just be like, I dare you to attack me. Or you can do what I do, which is like, get the warp, get every like short range weapon you can, and just warp around the map right next to every ship and unleash hell, and then whoop and warp away. It's great. It's so much fun, that game.
Did
We will now christen this the Dick Ship.
It is. It's super.
Did they show you the stuff kind of behind closed doors? Did you get to see any of that?
Yeah, that's where I was. Yeah.
Okay, that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that we could talk about, but that's the stuff I'm really excited for as a streamer, to be able to have that stuff in the game.
I think we're not allowed to talk about any
Thanks
of
for
it.
being
So there's
super
things-
vague.
No,
Thanks.
I have
knew
to be
about
very
the
big.
coming back
I
as a
didn't actually
fighter,
sign
So if I know
anything.
about it, then it's out.
I
in the
didn't
public,
sign
so.
anything, so I'm not technically behind an NDA, but I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to say much. But it feels like that game, like, Jesse, you played this game last year at PAX South, right, when it debuted? I think that was when it debuted.
It did,
I feel
yes.
like that game was ready then, but they've actually gone back to the drawing board and, like, added in so much shit that the game's, like, it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait for
There's
that game
quite a
to come out.
similar game on Steam in early access called Fractured Space, which is pretty much the same game. And I played a bit of that, and I enjoyed it. But there was an alpha available this weekend for Dreadnaught, but they had very limited times, and it was under NDA, so I didn't bother playing it. Because,
Yeah.
well, I
They've
wanted
had
to play
a-
more XCOM. But it
It's had a
looks...
closed alpha for a while now that
It-
no streamers are in.
Yeah, it looks quite my thing. You know, I love big capital ships. I love that kind of thing. So hopefully Dreadnaught will be up my alley.
Jesse can attest firing a nuke in that thing and getting a kill with it is one of the most satisfying things.
So effing funny. I had a Dreadnought, and it was the very last thing of the game, and like the last minute of the game, and I respawned and was like way in the back, and I was like, F it, nuke, and
Yep.
it just shoots out, and from like across the map, you see just everyone died. I was like,
Yeah. It's the best.
real good.
And it's so
Real
quiet
good.
too. It's just
I
like
did good today.
it just goes up, and there's no like
so
nuclear launch detected. It's just goes up and comes back down, and
Love
then
it.
fucking just devastation everywhere. It's great.
The one thing that I think really balances out the really fast ships or the different like healing ships is when you can just make a ship that is designed to ram other ships. So you can
there's a ramming ship. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So you can basically have a whole team of like, we're little fast douchey Corvettes, and then you can be like, fine, and just ram your ship and they explode, and you're like, whoa. So there's a lot of balancing in that game that like a year ago I was like, oh, this ship's ready, this is great. It's way better than it was a year ago. Like they've really improved it. So I'm excited to see what happens when it actually is released.
Have
That'd
they
be
set
great.
a release date?
Not to me.
Publicly? I haven't heard anything either. So I think that game is going to do really well, though.
Yeah.
It's pretty, you know. It's a very
looks
good
gorgeous,
looking
you're right.
game. I think people are going to find it very appealing to look at. And who doesn't want to fly around a big spaceship, you know? Even if you're not really in space, which is a bit weird. I don't know
Yes.
why they've put them on planets. That's strange to me, but hey, whatever.
Well, if you like space and games similar to this, though not really, Dead Star is a game that is you play 13. It's kind of like MOBA-ish in that you can play from like 12 or 13 different ships and different races, like different versions of those ships. And the versions of the maps that I played were like quadrant capturing. So it's similar to like COD maps where you like capture a flag and you like take over that area and then it produces things or like, so it's like red team versus blue team and you pick 3 ships that you can switch between in that map. So you don't get to choose all the ships, but you can have 2 backups. So you can pick a ship that's good at harvesting things or a ship that's good at quick, like stealthy things. There's all these different ships you can pick.
That game looks graphically really awesome.
Yeah, and so what happens is you take a base, and then once you take that base, you can go around and get minerals and upgrade the base. And that's one strategy. So you can have one really super powerful base, and then you move on to the next quadrant. You can try and take that over. Or you can just go quadrant to quadrant to quadrant to quadrant and quickly push the enemy. And then once you get every quadrant around their main base, that's when their shields go down and you can attack the main base. Every ship has different abilities, so there's some that they have more storage space. So those are ships that you definitely want to use to go out and get minerals. There's some that take over things faster that you want to use to push. There are some that are freaking battle cruisers that have like all these different abilities that you can use to destroy with. The one that I really, really, really liked was sort of like a mid-level cruiser that had a lot of storage space, so I could go around and like collect minerals, and then eventually go back and trade them in. To like,
what was the name of that?
Space?
No, this game is like very similar to a really old online Sony game.
Oh, it reminded
Cosmic
me of
Rift.
an old.
This is Cosmic Rift, basically.
Never heard of that.
Top down, yeah.
So like, the ability that I had that I loved is this one ship had like a laser beam that it, as it charges, it shoots a ball of energy, but as it charges, it brings a shield around the front of your ship. So as you're facing people and charging, you're like, what up, haters? Because they can't get you. And then you fire this really slow beam, but it's like, whatever. But the real thing about the ship is because people want to chase you down, it releases like ventral gas behind you, and you leave a trail, and if they get caught in it, the ship, their ship slows to a halt, like crawls to, like it doesn't move.
So basically, it's broken.
Yeah, and then enemy ships can destroy, like your friends can destroy the hell out of that ship because it's stuck in space. So it's actually really, really cool. The best part about the game is the maps are like each individual quadrant, they're set quadrants, but the way they're combined are random every time. So the maps are always a little bit different every time. And the crazy thing is that there's random events. So each map might have like fire vortexes or meteor showers, or in some cases, a third faction, a yellow faction, will show up in a giant battle cruiser and fight both of you. And so your tactics are like, all right, well, do we band together to fight this guy, or do we ignore him and while you're trying to fight him, go around and try to take your base? And so there's all sorts of crazy things. It was a lot of fun. It probably had the biggest line I saw there for an indie game. Like, it was crazy, and everyone who played it loved it. So it was really, really fun.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. I feel like when I was walking around PAX, I saw Dreadnaught, and then everything else. Like, Skype had the biggest third booth there.
Skype?
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah.
Fucking Skype.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to walk up and just be like, you guys are fucking terrible, then just walk away. Like, I don't understand why Skype had a booth there. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's PAX South.
Definitely,
like, PAX South is the smallest one, you know?
Yeah, it is.
It's all
this
indie
one
games.
was still bigger, though. I don't know if it was unique, but I heard that there was at least 60,000 people there over the weekend.
Yeah.
Which is larger than was last year.
A lot of the big companies don't take PAX South seriously yet because it's just not as well established as the other events, so that's probably why. It'll get there, though. It'll get there.
Yeah, the indie games were definitely fun, and there was, I mean, every game that was there, there were a lot of games that came back from last year. And like Shapes and Beats was there again, which is a fantastic game that it has maybe some of the best music in a game I've ever heard. And they always draw a huge crowd because the music's so good. And it's literally a multiplayer game where you're Shapes and you have to move around the map to beats. It's that simple. It's the easiest, most simplistic game in the world. Draws a crowd every time. I think that
future gaming.
Yeah, my favorite game of the con was a game called Okhlos, which is
how do you spell that?
Okhlos. It's Greek, and the basic premise, it reminds you of like an old school Super Nintendo game. It is, you're a Greek philosopher, and the gods kill your following. And so out of revenge, you're like, I will kill the gods! And so what you do is with your right trigger, you control yourself. And with the left trigger, you control the mob you gather. And you go around and you get like regular people, slaves, soldiers, defenders, all sorts of people. And you tear down Greece.
You just murder people, right?
Yeah. You fight soldiers, you fight all these different guys. And then at the end of every like 3-level section, you fight a god. And the gods all have different skills and powers. So I fought Artemis and Apollo when I played. And Artemis was like, she shoot arrows and arrows would come down like impale your people. It's like, holy shit. And then
so this is like a Greek Pikmin, I guess.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I had it described to me as a Greek Pikmin. I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm interested. That sounds kind of cool.
Control an unruly mob of Greeks and kill gods. That sounds like exactly what I want out of a video game.
It is too much fun. I played that for like an hour. It is too much damn fun. And what happens is the more people you collect, you can like upgrade to collect more and more people. But at the end of every little level section, there's a shop, and then you can trade people for even better like celebrities. So you can get like all these Greek celebrities, but then there's silly ones. Like I had like Elvidicus Preslius or some guy like that on my team.
Oh god.
And he was like he had like a lute and like a crazy hair. Yeah, and he gave my people, like everyone gives you buffs. So by the time you get to a boss, you have certain buffs and skills, or you can trade. Like I have 10 normal like plebs, and I'm going to trade them for 5 soldiers who now will do more damage for me. And then you can go off and get more people and bring them into your group. But also, having slaves is really important because they can pick up
all
things.
right, I'm just going to cut that out of the podcast.
Having slaves is
having slaves
important.
is really
Jesse
important.
Cox,
Having slaves is really important.
Yeah,
Says white man on
like,
internet.
slow motion.
They can carry things.
Slaves is really important.
Like, they can carry things, so they can carry the meat that will heal everyone up in your party again. They can carry the helmet that will raise an army of the dead to fight with you. They can get a shield that can protect you. And I can't remember what the other one is right now, but there's another one that you can get. Oh, TNT, like a big thing of dynamite that will explode a huge area and works really well on, like, taking down buildings and stuff. So, like, you need them in your party, or else you're totally screwed because you have no items. And no one else will lift an item whatsoever because they're all lazy as shit. So, like, you have these people, and every different class does their own thing, and then you have to learn when to attack and when to defend. There's some mobs that do, like, stomps. So while your mob's going crazy, you have to remember to defend, and everyone defends. And then there's some enemies, these priests, that ignore the mob entirely and go directly for you. So while you're controlling your mob, destroying things, you have to remember to watch out for yourself. Because if you don't, the priests will gather around you and start killing you. And then what happens if you die, then another person in the mob becomes the new prophet. And so everyone follows that person now. And the person changes. So when I started off, I was like the guy in the like all the videos. And then when I died, I basically became like a dude who looked kind of like Gandhi, and I was like, Gandhi's here to wreck some shit. And then and then when that guy died, it became like just like a weird looking like redheaded dude. Like it keeps changing as you go through until eventually you run out of people and then you die. And so those are like your extra lives that you get.
Right.
Are the people in your,
makes sense.
It's super
What platforms is that on? PC?
PC is what I played it on, yeah. But I played it with a controller, and I think that's what the general gist is. I imagine they'd try to get it on consoles, because, I don't know, it's super fun. That was my favorite game of the con, hands down.
As someone who hates Pikmin, that sounds like a Pikmin-style game that I want to play.
I want in on this. Yeah. That sounds great.
That sounds really cool.
It's super simple, and all the gods are, like, different tactics, and they have different people who work for them. It reminds you of a raid in WoW, except you are controlling every raid member. So
great. That's how I've always wanted it to be, Jesse.
Oh, it's
yeah.
It's so, like, when you fight Apollo, not only do his it might have been Artemis. One of them like had trees that grabbed your people, and so you had to go knock down the trees in order to get them out of it while you're fighting. I know Apollo had obelisks that would shine light on him and protect him from damage. So you had to destroy all the different obelisks before you, and then like also move out of the way of his arrows that are falling from the sky. So it's like you're in a raid, but you're controlling everyone, and it's a ton of fun. I loved that game.
Any idea of when it's coming out? Did they say?
Not a clue.
We'll probably see it next year at PAX.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna think.
Likely.
That's cool. I had no idea that was even on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome. I want to see some of those games. Hopefully we'll get to play them sooner rather than later. Shall we move on to the news? Because we are rapidly running out of time here in the show, and there's certainly a few things that I would love to discuss. We already spent an hour on the Fine Brothers. I think we're going to move on to some actual gaming news. So there was a piece of news that you really want to talk about, Ross, which is an article that claimed that EA is hoping to regain the trust of PC gamers. And you had a lot of interest in this particular article, I believe.
Yeah, well, I thought this would be a good topic because I feel like maybe everyone here, they might have a different answer of what they can do. Yeah, it was like what they want to know what they can do to regain the trust of PC gamers. And I feel like people can have different answers because I have really specific answers of what.
Go for it.
Okay, well, again, I tend to be on the older game spectrum. You know, I'm not. A lot of you guys are playing like brand new games. Sure. The number one thing I hate that EA does is they kill games.
Yes,
and I mean, you talked about this in your multiplayer only video. I mean, kill beyond completely unplayable. Not because there's not other people, but because It relies on a central server, and then they shut it down, and then you can never play it again. Meanwhile, you can play multiplayer DOS games from like 20 years ago and without a problem.
Right.
I really hate this practice so much because it's kind of encroaching a little bit on games with just no thought at all given to it. And they killed a bunch of games last year.
They kill them every year,
They're slated to kill more. The new Need for Speed, they've said it's supposed to be online only. The only way these games even survive is because of super fans who have a lot of technical skill going in and just hacking the hell out of it, which is hardly a sure thing.
No, it's not.
I don't know. To me, this gives me like the most visceral response out of just anything in gaming. Because it's like, okay, now this game's dead. You can never play it. You can't even see what it was like if somebody didn't make a video on it. Or
artificial obsolescence. They're putting an artificial timer
that's exactly
on the game.
what it is.
And really, let's be honest, the only reason they want to do it is so that you'll buy the fucking new one, and so they don't have to pay to keep the servers up for the old one.
Sometimes, like in your video, I've mentioned it too, in Battleforge, they had no RTS lineup. There was no game to herd people to. Yeah. It's just dead. It's just a horrible, horrible business model that, I mean, for me, killing a game is the worst thing you can do. Because like you said, the Division's not your thing, but you're happy if other people like it. Well, that's my attitude about games also, you know?
Of course.
I mean, and there could be, the game may not be the greatest, but there'll be other things you like the music or a good atmosphere or just like a real interesting part of it, even if the whole game isn't that great. And, I mean, I see them as serial killers of gaming. What they're doing, and they come out and say, "What can we do to regain trust?" When they're still doing this, it's just it's
and they murder studios as well. It's not even just games; they murder studios.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Bullfrog. Rest in peace, Westwood. Rest in peace, Pandemic.
Phenomic.
Went down too. Yeah,
Maxis.
Maxis is.
We'll probably never see another proper SimCity.
They didn't have a lot going for them, it's
kind of crazy.
It's insane. I mean, a lot of people don't care about this, but the longer this goes on, it's gonna affect the game that one of your favorite games. Battleforge was a pretty good game.
It was, yeah.
MMOs, this has been happening a long time, but I mean, part of that's organic, but part of it's, there's measures they could do. They could either factor this into the design or release some code under a non-commercial license saying, okay, you can use this, but only for stuff, just make some best effort, as opposed to no effort, go to hell.
I can't see how developers are even okay with this happening. It's like we worked for years on this game.
If you spent years working at a game, don't you want to be able to show that to people down the line?
It's like 20 years down the line, it's like, great, we worked on a game that doesn't even fucking exist anymore.
I can't show it to you at all.
Yeah, I understand for free-to-play stuff, okay, I kind of get that. And for MMOs as well, eventually an MMO will kind of go and running an MMO server is difficult. I'll give it that, but it's not that people haven't managed to do it. They have.
I can understand if they don't have the money or resources to support this stuff. Well, just release what you can with the code. Or, I mean, if it was up to me, I'd make this practice illegal. Have a real fine if you because if you bought a game, Battleforge lasted 4 years. There's been some that have got. How long did Tabula Rasa? That wasn't EA, but how long did Tabula Rasa last? It was
it's almost
something.
2 years.
I mean, that's insane, especially if you're not
fucking auto assault and all sorts of games. Oh god.
When I did my Battleforge episode, one fan told me he spent over $1,000 on transactions for that. I mean, it's to be able to take that and just down. I don't. So what if it's in the contract? I don't think that's right.
I mean that stuff isn't enforceable anyway for the most part.
Yeah, I know. For me, it just elicits a real emotional reaction. It's like book burning almost for.
Oh, it kind of is, because games preservation is becoming increasingly a problem. These are games that we just can't play anymore.
Without this.
Yeah, EA is the worst. There's no.
They are. They're really the leader of this sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason I don't like them
so much.
I mean, I think some of the ire against EA is misplaced. Like, I think people hating on Origin is pointless now because I think Origin's actually quite a good client, and their customer service is a shitload better than Steam, and their refund policy is more generous than Steam. And all that sort
anything's
of thing.
better than zero. So.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they've done some good stuff, but the problem is that they have done so many bad things in the past. It's so hard to get past it. And they've shown no effort to fix it. They shut down servers every year. They keep doing it.
Yeah, it's part of their model now. I mean, it's part. So yeah, you want to regain trust from me, which unfortunately I'm a minority, but I'm really glad I get to talk about this on here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, stop killing games. Do something, anything. Release a patch. The source code is put in part of the plan. Anything. You're not. Okay. Yeah.
Stop making us rely on your central server for your bullshit that you can shut down at any moment, especially when your game has goddamn microtransactions in it. I mean, that itself is ridiculous.
That's kind of crazy to me. I remember there was a huge conversation a while back along the lines of maybe it was when there was some company that did a bunch of DRM bullshit, and now it's like coming to fruition that what if like League of Legends shuts down one day?
And it will.
It never will. Well, I don't think it ever will.
But
one
like
day. It will.
Imagine the amount of money that like people have put into that game on a case by case basis. Like,
I mean, there are some. I think it was Infinite Crisis.
League of Legends, it would get hacked within the week, I think.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, everybody who dumped the money in there, all right, you have to rely, hoping people will cobble it back together somehow.
Yeah. You never really think about the fact that, like, how much money you spend on some of these online-only games, that it could just all go away one day. And you could never access it again, and it will. Yeah.
I mean, it did for Infinite Crisis, if I recall correctly. I know that Dawngate...
They shut that down?
Yeah, that got shut down within a year of its release, you know? Dawngate, which we loved a lot, got shut down. We did get refunds on that, but there are free-to-play games that shut down, you don't get refunds, and that money is gone forever at that point. You got nothing.
Yeah, you made a great point in your video about how, Titanfall reception wasn't as great on the PC. It was like, well, we know you're going to kill it.
We don't trust you. That's the problem.
Yeah, meanwhile, I mean, there's plenty of games over 10 years, multiplayer games over 10 years old that still see pretty fair amount of play just because, they hit a genre, they made a game people really liked and want to keep playing it, That's...
Yeah.
Okay, so well, let me ask you guys, is there anything that could regain your trust in EA? What would be a starting point?
That's pretty much my opinion on it as well. Like, I don't necessarily have a problem with the games that EA releases. Most of them are not that great. And you know what? Whatever. They make games that appeal to the mass market. Yeah. They're not really appealing to me. Every now and again, EA will publish a game that I like a lot, and then the rest of it will be like, meh, I want them to stop being so damn predatory with DLC. Like, I have been conditioned now to believe that an EA game is nowhere near done when it comes out, and that they're actually selling me a $120 game, not a $60 game. And Battlefront is the biggest possible example of that.
Yeah, they're chopping things off.
Yeah, they're chopping things up. It clearly didn't have enough content on release, and it's really hurting, like, the multiplayer sort of only genre when EA keeps doing this. Battlefront is, like, being held up as an example as to why multiplayer only games don't work, and yet I believe that pointless single-player campaigns are often a waste of resources. And there are games like Rainbow Six Siege, which are really fucking good.
That's what I was about to say.
That are being tarred with the same brush, and that's not fair. Rainbow Six Siege has enough content to keep people going. Battlefront does not. And Rainbow Six Siege has a better business model than EA does with Battlefront. It's as simple as that.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Rainbow Six, from what you're telling me, that sounds like a game people might want to play a long time, too.
Yeah, they will. I think they will.
I mean, you don't want that shutting down. Like,
that game could be the new Counter-Strike. They developed that well, that could be the new Counter-Strike that could still be played 10 years down the line. They're starting up an esports scene for it. I'm looking forward to watching it. It's going to be an awesome game to watch. It's going to be really fun and intense to watch. I love playing it. I don't even mind dying in that game because it's fun to watch through someone else's perspective and really get the tension. I think I get from Rainbow Six what other people do from Counter-Strike.
It's interesting that, and this is a random topic on Rainbow Six, it's interesting that game is still the number one game for new viewership on a stream. Like, I will stream that game and get 200 new followers in a 2-hour period on Twitch because it's just such an enjoyable game to watch. But anyways, that's random tidbit.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I'd add that. They're very predatory with their DLC at this point. I want them to stop doing that. I don't want to hear about the season pass before the game comes out. I don't want to hear about the premium edition. I don't want you to sell me a $70 game instead of a $60 game on launch just because you decided, hey, there's a really powerful gun that we're going to give you right off the bat.
You don't even need to hear about the season pass. You just expect it.
Yeah,
Like they don't even announce. It's like, oh well, where's the season pass? Like when is that coming out? Like that's the next question most people have.
Yeah, it's like you're not releasing games in the complete state, and I'm not okay with that. So you need to quit that.
Yeah.
Then I'll trust you a bit more. I don't think EA is the devil in the way that a lot of other people do, but they have killed some of my favorite franchises, my favorite studios, and they've done some really shitty things.
Yeah, I think that's my answer is just stop doing shitty things.
Yes.
Yeah, that really. I was going to say, has anything ever been resolved? I mean, this doesn't affect us directly, but has anything ever been resolved since like the EA spouse incident, or just like, shh, Or, I mean, are things still really kind of like that there, or just?
It's very, very hush hush. They gave us the new Origin Access, which I think is a pretty good deal for the most part. They do on the house. They have a good
they're doing some
policy.
good stuff, but I just can't ignore.
It's
like,
not enough.
They kill things. They keep killing. Stop killing.
These are distractions. These are treats that you're giving us to distract us. You still have core business model problems that I don't agree with that you need to solve. And if you don't do that, I will not trust you as a publisher. I can't. Yeah. Stop it.
Okay, I don't want to keep it anymore.
Yeah, there's our free advice to EA. There's how you can fix your PR. That's Fine Brothers level PR right there. You can fix this, but you've got to show over the next couple of years that you're actually committed to really fixing those core problems that we have with you.
Don't make a video.
Free Games doesn't do that.
Don't make a video where you just read passive-aggressive lines and look at the camera upset. That's the wrong way of going about it.
Don't ask for sugar water. We don't want to give you any. We know what will happen if we do.
Exactly.
Don't trust you. It's like EA flashes themselves with a neuralizer every couple of years and forgets what they did.
I think the game industry does that.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. I don't know. I don't think gamers forget. Like, they've got a fucking hard-on for hating EA, and I don't really blame them.
For sure. Jesse.
If it makes you feel a little bit better, deep down inside... there's an EA studio, a huge one, right near where I live. It used to be 2 giant buildings. Now, it is 1 giant building and an LA Fitness. So, I feel like, even at EA, they're a little screwed, and it's because of the stupid mistakes they've done. So, hopefully, lessons will be learned, and hopefully they will fix their shit, because it's very obvious there's a corporate culture there that is negative towards producing quality and positive towards getting as much damn money as possible. So hopefully that will change. Yeah, hopefully that will change now that they are not getting as much money as possible. And one of the giant buildings they built is an LA Fitness. So
I don't know, man. They have a Disney Star Wars license. It could be a long time.
Apparently they've shipped like 14 million copies of Battlefront, even though it's a piece of crap. So they're making plenty of money,
Yeah, I've heard their San Francisco office is pretty large, like 5 giant buildings with a Starbucks in it. And
well, maybe they'll just make Star Wars and sports games in the future, and then we'll
maybe
it'll at least contain the damage a little,
Oh dear, I don't know if I want them to keep making Star Wars games, but hey, never mind.
Too bad.
Yeah, we don't have a choice in the matter. All right, let's move on to so article on VentureBeat about The Witness, which is apparently Jonathan Blow went to Twitter to say that The Witness is the #1 game on a certain popular torrent site, which unfortunately will not help us make another game. He also said that he's glad that more people will be experiencing the game, but I want to be able to make another comparable game next. So, I mean, first things first. Has
anyone played The Witness?
No, and I have no intention of playing it.
But I've watched about 10 hours or so on
Twitch. Yeah, I'm like 3 hours in, and my head is just like...
It's missed with line puzzles, and I don't like either of those things. Yeah, I don't
It looks like it'll be perfect for virtual reality, though. Simple graphics.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So.
That's going to be a Morpheus title for sure, I think, on the PS4.
Yeah. He also thinks about reluctantly adding DRM to future games. It's like, well, I don't know if that's really going to help you that much, but...
Being public about it probably won't, just do it if you're going to do it. Don't say that you're thinking about adding DRM.
Yeah. It's like, because that's going to turn legitimate customers against you. Because, look, we bought your game, and we bought it legitimately, and DRM, we know that DRM can affect us in a negative way because it can break things. So nobody likes to hear about DRM. I don't blame the guy for going to Twitter and being pissed off about this. He spent years and years and years of his life and a lot of his own money making this. 8 years, yeah. Making this game, and a bunch of people pirated it, and that sucks. Unfortunately, piracy is a reality of the industry, and it's also enhanced when you make a game that people are just a bit unsure of. This first game was Braid, it cost $10. This is The Witness, it costs $40. and people are not
It's
really
really
sure what
wow.
the
I didn't know
Witness
it was
is. Yeah, it's a $40 game. And is it arguably worth that? Probably. Yeah, in terms of production values, in terms of length, sure, why not? But a lot of people are wary of that kind of thing. They don't know if they're going to like it. At $40 is a lot of money to them. And they say, you know what? Okay, I'm going to download it. I'm going to pirate it.
I think that argument doesn't hold as much weight now because there's just so many videos out now.
Yeah,
what's the game like? Well, okay, here's 5 YouTubers who are covering it. Let me take a look.
The problem is, like, with a game like this, it's very spoiler heavy. Like, if you watch it, you can kind of ruin the game for yourself. So I think The Witness is a really weird, unique case where people didn't understand the game, but they also understood that there was a lot of mystery in it, so they didn't want to spoil it by watching a Let's Play. So I think another reason why the argument doesn't hold as much water is just how frequently games go on sale now. You know, I don't agree with pirating to try on day one. It's like, look, if you're not okay with paying $40 for it, then pay $20 later, you know? Wait. But a lot of people they want to have their cake and eat it. And of course, I'm not in favor of piracy. But I'll still say that, you know, piracy does not directly translate to lost sales, you know, 100% of the time. It's not fair to say
this isn't a solution, but I almost wish there could be, like, super restrictive piracy for, like, the first couple weeks to really, you know,
focus in the purchase.
Yeah, to like get that initial money, you know, because that's, well, for less so for PC games, but for some games they get like almost all the income is like right up front, or a lot of it traditionally.
Definitely,
and that's what I think everybody would really like to see happen. But
I kind of feel like
then they ease off afterwards.
The thing is they've tried it, and like Ubisoft did that, and it broke everything. Like they went super hardcore on the DRM, and people hated it, and there was a backlash because it affected legitimate customers. That's the problem with when you use heavy DRM.
That's a hard
you know?
problem.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, and this might just be me, but I feel like piracy has gone down for me because it's gotten easier to get games digitally. It's gotten easier to get movies digitally. It's gotten easier to get music. Like,
yeah, it has. It's
because I can go and click a button.
It's a service problem. You know?
Yeah, I can go and click a button, and for $5, that button will start downloading the game, and then I can click play, and it's done.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, like, I'd be interested to see the numbers that he's seeing. Like, I don't know how many times it was downloaded or whatever, but like, I wonder how much actual revenue is being lost on games these days.
You don't know. I mean, there's no way to tell.
Yeah,
because
there's not.
you have no idea as to whether or not one pirated copy was one lost sale. Because that person may not have had any intention of buying the game anyway, in which case it's not a lost sale in the first place. He may have then gone and bought the game, so that was actually a gain sale that he wouldn't have got otherwise because he didn't want to he didn't want to risk it. You know, piracy is bad, but it's not guaranteed lost sales. I prefer people didn't pirate, but I understand why some people do. And
it makes me wonder if there are any stats, like what parts of the world, too, because especially if it's like a game where there's no way the average person can afford that game. I'm not justifying it, but that might be good data where you can figure out if that really is a lost sale or not. No, I'm with you. I don't think piracy is an excuse to like, to try the game or to like, maybe I want it or... But
I think a lot of people use it as an excuse. It's like, there's no demo. It's like, well, demos cost a lot of money to make, you know?
Say, yeah, like,
and again, nowadays especially, you know, a lot of games you can see exactly what that game's going to be like.
Yeah, you can watch a stream, you can look at a YouTube video. You've got Steam Refund available for like the first 2 hours as well. I feel for the guy. I do. I don't know how much money he's actually lost through this, and the thing is, neither does he. He has no idea. You know, 100,000 pirated copies of game does not translate to 100,000 $40 copies not sold. That's just.
But it could translate to 15,000 copies.
It could.
You know, it's hard to say.
We just don't know. We have no way of knowing. You know, I think that he was definitely going for the sympathy vote here, and I think he's justified in doing it. Absolutely. You know, feel free to protect your work. It's totally right for you to feel that this sucks. But you know, let's not pretend that The Witness isn't doing really well, because he also said that it's on track to shift more money in a week than Braid did in its lifetime. So
that's insane. That's actually insane. Because Braid was like the GOAT. It's like the definition
was it the
of
first
the first
year or something? I don't know if it was lifetime. I'd have to look up that stat.
But
it was still a lot of money, you know?
Braid's the definition of the first real big indie game. Pretty much. Like, if it sold that much already, that's fucking mind-blowing.
Here's the quote. Jonathan Blow's new game, blah, blah. He said on Twitter that The Witness in less than a week is already outpacing his last game, Braid. It's generated more revenue during its first week than Braid's entire first year. So,
that makes sense, because I guess, you know, when he made Braid, it was kind of like a nobody's game, and now it's Jonathan Blow's new game, right? So it has some.
Yeah, I mean, Braid made him.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. No, Braid was not on Xbox only. Braid was on other platforms. I think it was maybe initially
Afterwards.
Xbox, probably a Summer of Arcade. Yeah, but
That's exactly what it was. Summer of Arcade. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I love Braid. that game's amazing.
Yeah.
But
Witness is obviously doing pretty damn well. Piracy or no piracy. And the best thing that you can do is price your game fairly, release a demo if you can, make it clear what your game is. Don't put walls of doubt in front of consumers, because any wall of doubt is an excuse for someone to pirate a game, because they've been screwed over way too many times by companies like EA. So they don't want to.
It's weird. I hate piracy in the front end, but on that way back end where these games are starting to disappear, sometimes it's the only way to run them.
Exactly. You can understand.
So I really have.
You can understand it, but not condone it. I think that's the best way to approach.
Yeah,
piracy.
on the front end, it just does a lot of harm. But.
Yeah, totally.
Seems like the average playthrough of that game is about 16 hours as well. So $40 is actually a lot.
Yeah,
I played the game. I still don't know. I still have doubt. I don't know what it's about.
I have no intention of playing it. I know it's not my thing. I know
it's like an awesome puzzle game. I couldn't tell you what the story was to save my life. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
I know what this is.
Dan's Gaming has been playing. I think he's actually very close to beating it, and it does the. If you played Braid, it does what Braid does at the end of Braid. So
okay,
great.
Yeah, which is like the big payoff, right? Because that's like the cool thing to talk about of Braid. But I don't know if I want to fucking sit through some like really annoyingly hard puzzles to get there.
I will. I like puzzles.
I fucking hate
you don't like
I'll
this game.
do it in virtual reality probably a year or two.
Yeah,
from now.
you go enjoy that. I will not. That's all.
This game has some really annoying ones towards the end where like they like flash colors at you, and you have to like stare at the fucking flashing colors to try to decipher how to get through the line puzzle.
Okay, that doesn't sound fun.
Well, apparently the game also has a really low field of view on purpose because it would fuck up some of the puzzles if it didn't, which actually means I physically can't play the game without vomiting.
Yes. There is
apparently it's bad for
puzzles.
colorblind people. It's also bad for people that have hearing disorders. Like, it is a very niche game that actually excludes a lot of people.
Resident Evil 5, I played the demo. The field of vision actually made me nauseous. It's like the
And that's very rare for me in a third-person game. It happens a lot for me in first-person games, but that game, nailed me to the wall. That's awful.
Yeah, there's a series of puzzles that is essentially you must, like, through the field of the puzzle, you must navigate shit around the background, so you have to stare at it the right way.
Yeah,
so
perspective puzzles, Yeah,
I was watching Wheat do those.
People are claiming you can modify the field of view easily. I mean, I watched Elder Geek's video of that, and he claimed that you could not. I don't know if that's a recent development, or maybe they patched it in since I watched that video, but yeah, one way or the other, obviously a low FOV is always going to cause some problems. Apparently, it looks like he may have patched it, which is good.
It might have been easily means by altering an INI file.
Yeah, an INI file, something like that, yeah. I mean, this is the problem with talking about games. People change them, so our information might be out of date now. Welcome to the modern world. All right, let's do some releases, and then we can tell people where to go to watch our stuff. So we don't have Dodger this week to do this, so...
I can read them if this is what's pasted here.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. JP, you do the reading, and we'll do the searching on Steam to find out what the hell this shit is. Okay, here we go.
All right, on February 2nd, Avion 4 Shadow of the Mist. Avion 4 Shadow of the Mist? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Avion 4 Shadow of the Mist. It is a sort of... I mean, it looks like an RPG Maker game, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, in fact.
There you go.
Next.
There you go. RPG Maker. Tales of Symphonia, the PC version's coming out.
PC port's piece of shit, by the way. Yeah, they ported it for the PS3. It's locked to 30 FPS. It's got shitty resolution. Don't. Wait to see if they fix it, because I know Tales of Zestiria or whatever the hell it is, they eventually fixed that. Beat. Yeah, they got it up to 60 and it was good, but apparently the port of Symphonia is a pile of crap, so you might
it was
avoid
a modder got it up to 60, not the company.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's if you hate 30 FPS, avoid this game like the plague. Next.
Fish with 2 E's.
It's an arcade game of microscopic survival and pesky sharks, apparently. It's basically eating stuff to get bigger. It reminds me of like the Spore microbe stage or Agrio or whatever.
Kind of sucks for the game when it comes up on Urban Dictionary first and not Steam. So
indeed. Next.
What are we at? Oh, Great Cat Simulator. Tell me about Cat Simulator.
Yeah, I bet that's amazing. That's, yeah.
Does it have the same like text, the font is it all the simulator games? Let's see.
Probably. It's
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's just another stupid cash-in simulator game that's probably a piece of absolute garbage. I would strongly suggest not getting it. Oh, it's in early access too, just if you want to make it.
It looks like it's in like 10 FPS. What the fuck?
What a piece of crap.
It's like a perfect triangle of
Awful.
void.
Yeah,
That's well. Next is Cobalt. One word, Cobalt.
Yeah, that game's been in like beta for like 4 years, right?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It's
This
the
is
Mojang
like-
game.
Is it?
Is it?
Yes, Mojang.
20
Or at least it
bucks.
was published by
is?
Mojang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was developed by Okhlos and published by Mojang. I actually don't know a lot about it. It's
a platformer, multiplayer platformer is how they're.
Yeah, it's
But, like-
multiplayer platforming combat game.
Tactics.
Yeah.
There's time slowing and like flips and twirls and crazy shit going on in this video.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Drei, Dreii. I have no idea.
Doctor?
No, I don't believe so. You see, he's locked up in my basement, so it can't be Dre.
Is this a puzzle? What the fuck is
Dropping them references. Experience the mesmerizing world of Dre, the award-winning collaborative physics conundrum. It's a
physics puzzle game?
Physics puzzle game for $2. Next.
There you go. Path to the Sky.
Roguelite, platformer. Kind of looks Terraria-ish.
Yes, indeed, it does. Yeah, randomly generated shit. Next.
Oh, that's on Greenlit apparently too.
Yeah.
Blitz Breaker.
It's a platformer, but your character cannot run. Play as an adorable robot that looks like it was ripped straight out of Crossy Road, by the looks of it. So,
It jumps. What's the?
apparently it can't run.
Oh.
That's the gimmick. Okay, next.
Interesting.
Not really.
Calendula.
Calendula.
Ah,
Oh, okay. Go on, Jesse.
nothing. This is just another one of those games that I'm sure I'll love, where it's like a game that is the game itself is the game. Does that make
Yeah.
any sense? Where it's
Yeah,
like
it's meta. How to
Yeah.
play a game that doesn't want to be played. Calendula is an experimental meta game about trying to play a game. Use your logic to thrive against conventions and get surrounded by a dark atmosphere. So it's kind of Pony Island-esque by the looks of it.
Interesting. Sorcery Parts 1 and 2.
Sorcery. Yeah, so it's actually
It's
sorcery.
spelled wrong in here.
Yeah,
Says
so
sorcery.
So these are ports
Sorcery.
of old game books, actually, and they are really cool. They're by Inkle, which is the studio.
Sorcery, yeah.
If I recall correctly, Inkle also made 80 Days, which is a fucking phenomenal game. And Sorcery is an adaptation of some old game books by Steve Jackson I used to play when I was a kid. And
that
it's
looks cool.
basically a really cool variant on Choose Your Own Adventure. It's a very, very good game. The price is good, too. Parts 1 and 2 for $6 is pretty fair.
It's on sale right now.
Yeah, I played these on iOS, and they're really fun. If you like dice rolling and kind of choose your own adventure, this is a great game.
Next, it's Spring Again.
Is it?
It's Spring Again.
Okay, but what's the name of the game?
It's Spring Again.
Yeah, I know you told me that, but what's the name of the game?
Oh boy.
Ah! An educational game for children ages 2 and up. It uses game mechanics to teach children about the seasons.
Third base.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, a Bismarcky song, which I'd much rather listen to than play the game, it sounds like.
Okay, next.
So there you go. The next one is called Grip.
Grip. It is a futuristic combat racing game inspired by Roll Cage. Oh, yeah. I'm all in on this one. It's in early access. That sucks, but we'll see what happens when it comes out. This actually looks pretty fucking cool. I love
How
Roll
many
Cage.
people are going to see this and think, did they forget that it's a D and not a P? Like,
I don't know.
it's all caps, too. Exactly
Grid,
like Bid.
yeah, I don't know. But I loved Roll Cage. Roll Cage was so fucking cool.
Astral Gun is the final game out on February 2nd.
$1.50 for a 2 to 4 player party game, which involves shooting each other with weapons in space, basically.
Gotcha. How many days do you want me to read?
We only read up to the end of the week, so we'll read up to...
figure it out yourself.
Yep.
Fortified, coming out on the 3rd.
Nothing to do with wine, apparently. Fortified is a game about defending the Earth against a Martian invasion in the 50s. It seems like it's a wave defense-based game with a kind of B-movie style to it.
Okay. American Truck Simulator is finally
That's what
coming
it
out.
sounds like. It's actually top of Steam right now. People love
Of
Truck
course it
Simulator,
is.
man. Yeah. I mean, Euro Truck Simulator was a very relaxing experience. Apparently, American Truck Simulator was really cool, too. So,
I
there
hope
you
they
go.
just have bad rock is the music.
Butt Rock, yeah. I think
Yeah.
they probably
I
have
think I read it even has like local stations that they'll pull in off the
Perfect.
internet for,
Yeah, that's
for the
so
region
cool.
that you're in.
That's what they have in Euro Truck, so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
That sounds
I'll
great.
probably play that.
There's a virtual reality game for you, Truck
Oh
Simulator.
yeah,
Perfect.
that'd be good.
Next.
Hieroglyphica.
It is a roguelike game that has no text in it whatsoever. Everything is pictograms. So you've actually got to figure out what the fuck everything is, because it
Great.
doesn't tell you.
Great. Hubert's Island Adventure, Mouse o' War, Mouse o' War.
Co-op
Okay.
edition.
That is a terrible name for a video game. Just want to point that out.
That's
And it looks absolutely awful. It looks like it was done in MS Paint. Great. That's awesome. I mean, when your graphical fidelity is not up to the level of Chip's challenge, you know you've got problems. Next.
nice. On February 4th, Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders.
Inspector Poirot! Ooh.
Murder mystery game, yeah.
Love it.
Those are usually kind of fun if you're into that sort of thing.
Love it.
Next.
Half Dead.
It is an early access sci-fi game about a violent television show where they have to walk through a room full of traps. So it's kind of like a Running Man style game.
Interesting. Next is Space Pilgrim Episode 3, Delta Pavonis.
Oh. Speaking of bad names,
I don't even know.
it's an RPG Maker game set in space. Next.
Gotcha. Astral Breakers, the last game out on the 4th.
Astral Breakers. It is not coming up on Steam, so I have no idea. Let me
Drop puzzle game. Hey.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome.
There you go.
All right,
There you
February
go.
5th. Let's go.
February 5th, the big release of the week. XCOM 2 comes out.
Yes,
on this
absolutely.
Friday. PC
Buy
only.
it. It's fucking awesome.
Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm bundle, which I think isn't that only out in Europe?
Possibly, yes.
I think it comes out in the US next week.
Yeah, I think they're holding back on that just a little bit, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
is there a bundle? No, there is a Storm bundle available actually on Steam right now, which is Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 and 4, and you save grand
I
total
think
of $10.
4 is the new one.
Yeah, but 4's already out though.
Is it? There's a new Naruto game coming out though.
All right, okay. I have
know
no
that.
idea.
Yeah, I don't either. I just know that's true.
I think if you're a Naruto fan, you already know this shit, and if you're not, you don't care. So next.
Exactly. Red Comrades Save the Galaxy Reloaded. What?
It's kind of a weird sci-fi Russian point and click, I think.
From 1998. Brought
Yep,
back.
from 1998. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Resurrected.
Old school.
Old school Russian.
And on February 6th, the final game of the week, Take the Dream 9.
9?
There's been 9 of Take
9 of
the
these.
Dream.
Take the dream, man.
I'm waiting for number 10.
Yeah, I know. I mean, number 8 was where it really fell off for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's my favorite Final
It really,
Fantasy.
it really
for sure.
jumped the shark when they brought in the robots. Like, I just wasn't feeling it,
Yeah.
and replacing Miss Piggy, I don't understand why they'd even do that.
I know.
What would
But
you do for the
Sephiroth's
person
great.
you love, apparently? It is a RPG Maker game. The 9th one, apparently.
Yeah, fucking RPG.
Yeah.
One of its features is default RPG Maker assets. Great job. Also a feature, love.
Love is
Love.
a feature of
Love
this
is
game.
a feature.
Guys,
Love's
love's
a
a
feature.
feature of this game.
Love is also a drug, just by the way. Just
As
want
it
to point that out. Don't
It's
you-
also a battlefield.
It is.
so,
Yeah.
Who knew?
But can
Yeah,
it bloom
never
upon the
changed.
battlefield? We just don't know.
And then that's it for this
That's
week.
it,
But the
that's
preview
it.
of next week, Firewatch comes out, which I think will be a
Oh,
cool
Yes.
cool.
I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
So
to that
excited.
one.
Yeah, I want to know what Firewatch is all about. Nobody has a clue.
Finally figure out what that game's about.
Pretty
yeah.
sure Giant Bomb still doesn't know what Firewatch
They
is. And they've
still
been
have
asking
no
for over
fucking
a
clue
year.
what
What the
Firewatch
fuck is
is.
Firewatch? We don't
What
know.
is Firewatch?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Like cloud gaming, no one will know.
Nobody knows. That's really unfortunate timing, actually, for Firewatch, because I'm not going to be
Why's
able to
that?
get a video out for launch. Because I want to be on the
Oh,
cruise,
oh.
man. Yeah, I'm not going to be back, and I'll be back, I think,
Unfortunate
on
for you.
Monday night. So unfortunate for me, but great for you guys. So there you go. Screw you.
Also,
I'll Firewatch.
Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia comes out. I'm
They're
really
pumping them out. Yeah. That's-
really are. They
It's
really
like,
are.
hey, we're going to
Never
slow down
ends.
the 3D ones. We're going to make a bunch of platformers. Cool. Thank you very much for watching the Corruptional Podcast, but we would love to let you know where you can find our stuff and what's coming forward. So, Ross Scott, tell us a little bit more about your channel, where they can find it, and what's coming up over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, my channel's called The Cursed Farms, or you can search for my name or Freeman's Mind. Right now, I'm mostly making it's called Ross's Game Dungeon, where I find games I think are interesting and try to make it presentable as talking about as I can. I I hope to kind of get some more short comedies sort of going later. I don't release videos as frequently as a lot of YouTubers because I'm kind of spending a big chunk of my time trying to make this grandiose machinima movie, but that's long ways out. But so I'm balancing between that and just trying to make entertaining videos like everybody else.
Very cool.
Cool stuff.
Jesse Cox, what's going on with the channel this week? What's going on?
I don't even know, bro. I don't even know what's going on. I couldn't tell you. I was just told I got to be on a plane tomorrow at 9 a.m. I was not told
Have
until
fun.
just now. So,
Where
yeah,
are you
I don't know
going?
what's
Tomorrow
going
at
on.
1, I think.
Are you going to B-Town? Where are you going?
Yeah, Boston.
So
So, yeah, the reason why Dodger's not here today is what I was just told I need to be doing as well, but no one told me till an hour ago. So,
Lovely.
I'm going to literally just lose my mind here, and maybe I'll be in jail by the end of the night. I don't know. So I might be doing streams live from
Sounds
jail.
exciting.
I might have killed a man by the end of the night. So who knows?
Right, there you
Who
go.
knows?
There you
So
go.
tune in for that. YouTube.com/Jesse Cox.
I can't top that.
He may be in jail.
may
JP,
be
what's
in
coming
jail.
up for you?
Hopefully finishing up Souls month because it's not January anymore, so it should
Indeed,
be over.
you are late. Get on with it.
Yeah, we'll be trying to finish that on Thursday on Twitch. More roleplay shows coming up. I think we'll do Swan Song tomorrow night, Drop Frames tomorrow on my channel, which is basically me copying the Co-optional podcast. So it's Full Circle TV.
Yep.
Full
Yep, I
circle.
stole your idea. You stole mine.
Exactly. And then I'll probably jump into some XCOM 2 tonight over on twitch.tv/shipmatejp. So come hang out right after the show.
Very
I'll
cool.
be streaming.
Enraging.
Really loudly.
Indeed. I ain't doing shit. I'm going on a boat. Fuck all of you. I'll be back Tuesday.
There you go.
That's my plan. I'm going to go enjoy 4 days of metal, no internet. They have Wi-Fi on this boat, and I'm deliberately not going to buy it. I'm going to have 4 days of no internet. I'm going to Jamaica. I'm going to eat some jerk chicken. I'm going to chill on a
That sounds
beach.
awesome.
And then
You're
I'm
gonna have
going
fun.
back, and I'm going to listen to 60 metal bands, and I'm going to eat Johnny Rockets, and hang around in bars, and do fucking rock climbing on the middle of a boat for some stupid reason, and
Yeah.
do all the stupid shit you get to do on a cruise. It's going
Do
to be...
everything but the rock climbing. Don't just skip the rock climbing. Just
I
don't.
kind of like rock climbing.
Okay, do the rock climbing, but
Yeah,
be
it's-
careful.
But skip everything else then.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Wi-Fi. I'm going to have 4 days of being unplugged, and I'm going to love it. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm going to eat that delicious pizza that was in Miami that I had last time, which was the best pizza I've ever eaten. I'm going to order that again. It has chicken on it. It's awesome. I'm going to get on this boat. It's going to be brilliant. Basically, content-wise, you're getting the co-optional podcast. That's probably it, because I'm too fucking tired to make any other videos tonight, and I'm leaving tomorrow. So go watch my
There you go.
XCOM video if you haven't watched it already. If you want to watch me basically 50 minutes of splooging over a game, then I would say that XCOM 2 is a great
You have a
example
lot of fans
that.
who would love to see that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's even Samantha.
What?
Yep, I think it might be. It's definitely one of the first times I've ever actually finished a game before doing it. Hey, if you want to call this one an actual review, out of the thousands of videos that I've done that I've said have not, you go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. Watch my videos, give me ad revenue. You bastards. Thank you for your new subscriptions and your money. I appreciate it a lot. I'm going to spend it on fucking drinks in the middle of the sea.
On a cruise.
Transparency. That's what we do here.
No, that's
Of course.
great.
Yes.
it's
yes.
for the community.
Of course.
Yeah,
yes.
we're
It's for the- I'm
changing
doing-
the world.
We're going to change the world together.
Yep.
One
Especially
strawberry
Jamaica.
daiquiri at a time.
Yep.
And with
yep.
you joining
Yep.
our franchise, everyone can go on cruises
Everyone.
starting next
I mean,
week.
you've kind of got
Yes.
to, if you want to go on a cruise, you've definitely got to give
Wait,
me
hold on.
money. Like, I don't own the boat, but you've got to give me money anyway. But you could be part of the cruise community, and we could change the world together.
You agree, Jesse?
Sugar water. Sugar.
Yes.
We are the lizard people. In human form. We wear skins as disguises. We are the Fine Brothers. Worship the Illuminati.
Jesus Christ.
Xenu forever. Goodbye.